Hi guys, welcome to Merc Space. Tonight we're doing a podcast on WandaVision, which has just had its final episode of the first season this week. Tonight I'm joined by Nick. Hi Nick.
Greetings.
And Mark again.
Hey.
Hi Mark. So we're going to have a quick rundown of the series and what we thought. So last time we saw Wanda and Vision was in Endgame, and it didn't end very nicely for them. Bless them. They were the lovebirds of the Avengers, apart from obviously Black Widow and Hulk. Let's not forget them.
Hey. Sun's going down.
Yeah. And sadly, Wanda had to do the sad job of taking Vision's life and then watching him come back to life and then dying again. And it wasn't very nice. But so when we saw this new trailer coming out for WandaVision, we were like, Vision's dead. What was everybody's thoughts?
What is this sorcery?
Yes.
I was a bit late on the trailer for WandaVision, if I'm honest.
You're usually a bit late on these things.
Sometimes I'm not, and sometimes I am. It depends on series to series. Like I will not be late for the Stranger Things ones that comes out, but this one I wasn't. I'd heard about it and I knew, because for me, like there's all these brand new MCU series coming out on Disney Plus and stuff, isn't there? But
yeah,
at the time when a lot of it was announced, it was just like it's coming, but it wasn't like a sort of like a rundown of when it was coming. And sometimes I don't like to watch things if I don't know, like if there's no sort of like, oh, it's coming out in such and such time, here's a trailer. If it's not that, then I'm like, well, I don't want to get excited. And then they're like, it's going to be like another 4 years before it comes out. Do you know what I mean?
No. I hate that.
I'm kind of similar. I didn't really see a trailer. I saw the title, so obviously knew Vision was in it, and just kind of thought, I'll find out when I watch it, because I don't watch trailers. Like, I don't like trailers. I don't like having any kind of expectations. It started when I'd have to look at when it came out to know my age, but like 16, 17-ish, when The Matrix Reloaded came out. And The Matrix was my favorite ever film, and I was just so excited and read every magazine preview, watched the trailers every time I was at the cinema, because we didn't have YouTube then, and and got there and was just crushed. Like, it was just like, now I've kind of realized what is good about it, which isn't much, but but like, I was so gutted at that point that I just kind of thought, right, well, clearly getting all excited for all these things and like thinking about what the plot might be and everything, and having all these expectations, I'm just setting myself up for disappointment.
Yeah, I don't really watch trailers much anymore, to be honest, because of that. Or I'll stop a trailer halfway through, because you can see it's just revealing the entire film.
And that's the other thing. It's so frustrating when they do that. It's just the storyline, but in bullet points.
See, I think
I'm the opposite. I will watch them.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy watching them. I'm one of those people who will scroll through IMDb and go, "What are the trailers?" Like,
Oh yeah, I'll do that. But if it's going to tell me the whole thing out, then sometimes I'll stop watching it. But no, I do love trailers.
Yeah,
I sometimes as well. Like
I just want to seek them out. Yeah.
Sometimes they drop in like stuff that never makes it to the film as well.
Yes, they do. You're right.
There's a lot of the stuff if you remember, I think it was the trailer for Infinity Wars. There was a shot of them of like Hulk, Captain America, Winter Soldier all running through Wakanda, and that shot was never in it.
No, it's the Hulkbuster armor in the end when he's inside the Iron Man suit instead.
Yeah. No, totally right. Well, I did see like they kind of don't think really the proper full trailer. They did like teaser trailer, but I mean, obviously you saw pictures. It was just this black and white like 1950s like sitcom thing, and no explanation as to why it was that, and it was just so intriguing. Some people were just like, that just looks weird, I'm not going to bother, but for me, I love all that kind of stuff, and it was really, really intriguing. And when that first episode came out, it didn't really explain much more, like, because not really much happened in that first episode,
right?
But apart from that, the weird little thing with when the guy started choking. But I kind of liked that still, that we still didn't know what was happening.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. That was creepy, man.
It's weird, wasn't it?
Yeah. I really loved that subtlety, and I joined it at episode 4 when everyone was like, oh, it's getting good now, finally.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for any reason, I just hadn't got around to it. And I thought, right, well, I'm going to start seeing, if people are talking like this, I'm going to start seeing spoilers, so I need to get up to date.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed the subtlety of that first episode and kind of wished it had gone on longer. And now I've seen the full thing. Not, I'm glad that it didn't, but like I was enjoying it. I was loving those little hints of like, oh, what's going on here?
I think they dragged together. I think they dragged that bit out for as long as they could. For me, it was just a little bit too long.
Yeah.
So, but I still felt the payoff of when I'm sure we'll get to the moment, but the moment when let's just say, went outside.
Yes. Yeah, I felt the same. Like I was starting to get a bit like, come on, what's going on? I want to know now. And it's obvious that they had to do it quicker than some people might have liked, because people would lose interest. Because I told my dad to watch it, and then the next day I was like, oh, did you watch the first couple of episodes? And he was like, oh, I got halfway through the first episode and I was like, what the hell's going on? So I turned it off, and I was like, no, go back, trust me, watch it, it will get better. And then he got hooked. So
it's definitely one of those ones, isn't it, where, because I'm a person where I can be watching like such a bad season or series of something, and if I'm like 3 episodes in, I'm like, well, I've got to finish it now, no matter how bad it is, like, so then I can get to the end and go, well, that was a pile of
same.
And I think that this one, with it being so different and not the MCU as we know it, and how things were left and how epic Endgame was, when you get to this and it just suddenly like pulls you away completely from what you were used to as an MCU fan. If you're that type of person that's like, after 15 minutes going, I don't know what's going on, giving up, like, then they're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. But like you say, the payoff comes when you push past those bits. And it wasn't dreadful, because actually watching those first few episodes, whilst I was getting anxious, because I was like, right, I know there's more to this than there is, but I just couldn't, like, I need to get to it now, come on. And when like those moments kicked in, like you say, Nick, with episode 4 and stuff, that was when I was like, yes, finally, And,
I think that's what a couple of my mates have been saying as well. But like for me, I loved seeing the familiar characters in an unfamiliar situation, and also the homages to the old stuff as well. I just enjoyed it for what it was, and like I knew it was getting somewhere, but I was just like, I quite like this. When it started skipping through a bit more rapidly and it went to like Malcolm in the Middle style and everything else, all the nostalgia.
That was crazy.
My actual favorite, and I guess we can talk about it when we get to it, but is the episode, I think it's 8, when we get to like sort of like the mid to late 2000s, and they don't rip off, they pay homage to a certain brilliant American sitcom that's like very good. And when we get to that was one of, if we're sort of comparing them to the TV styles that they were replicating throughout, that was my favorite one, as good as they all were. And I'll talk about that later.
I loved them all individually for everything that they were. And I mean, the opening one, I used to watch like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie with my dad when I was a kid. So I loved that first one straight away. And I could just see it. She was just like channeling the girls from that, like the girl from Bewitched so well. It was brilliant.
And that's it. And that's what I thought was really impressive, was it was obviously those characters, but different. And I thought it did really well to get both at the same time, to put them both.
Well, I was just reading in Total Film magazine that they did like a sitcom boot camp before they started filming, and they were like, basically we just sat in a room and watched loads of TV. So they just like, they were so refreshed on all of those shows before they went into it, which is pretty cool. But was it? I think it was episode 2 when was it episode 2 when the helicopter came in?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah,
it
so
was.
We were still in black and white then, weren't we?
Yeah, we were still in black and white, but there was that little bit of colour that just appeared at the end. And that was also the episode where there was weird sounds coming through on the radio. Someone trying to talk.
Who's doing this to you, Wanda?
That was it. Who's doing this to you, Wanda? And the lady she was talking to slightly coming out of things as well.
Well, and she, like, now I like watched the whole series, but she smashed the glass on purpose, didn't she, to distract from the radio, obviously. And then we see her blood in red as well, don't we?
Exactly. I mean, what were you guys thinking when all these little characters like kept like switching their personalities and saying all these strange things, and they were having all the quiet conversations. What were your thoughts?
Go, Nick.
Yeah, thanks. Because I had a theory right from the start based just on the name of the show, Alone. And it turned out it was right. But, you know, like, obviously, WandaVision isn't just literally Wanda and Vision. It's because it's from Wanda's.
Yeah.
If you're watching it in WandaVision, you know what I mean? So it's I kind of got the idea. And there's a comic book storyline that they borrowed quite a bit from.
That House of M.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, which I had read about years ago. I've never actually read it, but I'd read about it years ago. And I was like, I think it's that. I think it's something to do with that. And so as everything was breaking them out and the characters were like breaking character, I just thought it was something to do with that. Like, these aren't the real people, but I don't know what the background is.
Yeah.
For me, it was very similar. I knew obviously from I remember seeing the title and then starting and watching it and going, oh, it's Wanda and Vision, even though it's WandaVision, like you say, it's about her vision. That's how I read it instantly. And then I went, oh, Wanda and Vision.
Yeah, that's
well done, Mark. Brilliant. But yeah, so I knew everything. It was her, however it sort of came to fruition eventually. But at that point, those maybe the first 2 episodes, when you get those little moments where something goes, that looks, part of me is going, right, so are there other people in on this? Like, so this is clearly from her perspective, or she's doing this, but who else is involved, or is it just her? That's what I was doing, and I'm like trying to second guess every character, even like, you know, there's like a bird in the background, like, what? Who's that? Who is it? But I loved it, and actually I loved the sort of like almost Truman Show feel to it, and that's throughout the whole thing. I mean, until you get to sort of like later on, but the Truman Show feel of it really early on was really cool as well. And because obviously, like, you knew characters in the Truman Show were like acting for it, I was trying to look out for like little subtleties of going, like, who's sort of like trying to manipulate things or manipulate Wanda in a way or anything. I was probably a little too suspicious at the start because I knew that something more was going to come to fruition. So I was trying to look for it rather than necessarily just sitting and watching and enjoying it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was definitely like a lot more suspicious probably than I needed to be. I didn't read it as WandaVision, although it's completely obvious now. I did because obviously I saw the images in the trailer and I was like, Wanda and Vision. So WandaVision, that's fun. That's a fun title. Slow. And I kept, obviously you had the things in the first couple of episodes with the other characters acting strangely, and you'd see obviously Catherine Hahn's character, you know, having that little discussion with the other neighbor, that guy, and then they'd shut up, and I was like, is there something? You know, I wasn't suspecting Wanda at this point at all. I was thinking, you know, is this Hydra? Because they kept having, remember the adverts in between, the adverts, and some of them were like Shield ones, and some of them were Hydra, and I was like, oh, you know, someone got her captive, are they controlling her, what's going on? And I was like, oh, is Catherine Hahn working for them? Is she like, you know, pretending to be a friend but really knows what's going on? So that's what I was suspecting. And it was like, at first when Wanda would do the little things where she's looking and then going, no, stop, that's when I wasn't sure, because I was like, well, she's clearly aware that something's going on, but maybe she's just really happy that she's in this world with Vision.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Did you hear, by the way, in the toaster advert, which was the one in the very first episode, the Stark Industries, the blaster sound, like basically the Iron Man.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that.
When they put the toaster down, it goes. The sound when Tony's charging up his hand blasters, and actually when the toast becomes like almost ready, the light turns to red, and obviously we hadn't seen any color at that point.
No. I love those adverts. I thought they were
they were very clever. They really
were.
I thought I was some sort of like, proper Sherlock when in the second episode when they do the Hydra watch, and I was like, it's Hydra, it's Hydra.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
It's obviously in your face. That like you've not like sort of unearthed anything there. It's supposed to be in your face, Mark.
Yeah, the same thought process. And then you had the beekeeper guy, which was all very Stranger Things.
Oh, that was very Stranger Things, actually.
Yeah.
I liked that moment. That's when I kind of went, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Very odds going on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And like I say, I love the way that she just went, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happens to him?
That's when I had like this background theory and I went, yeah, I'm starting to get quite confident in this thing.
What happens to him? Because we never hear anything of him again.
No, we don't. You're right.
Nothing.
Do we?
We don't hear anything.
Oh, did he not like?
Well, we'd see
go
him
into character and like just wander off or something. I did.
Yeah,
maybe, yeah. But I don't think we ever see him again.
No, well, there's a couple of things that
apart from the flashbacks, obviously, but
yeah, a couple of loose ends for me that we'll get to later. But that would be one of them, I guess. But yeah, I did feel like there's a couple of things when they were like, right, we need to just carry on and look at this new thing now, and hope that no one remembers that thing.
Yeah. Moving on to episode 3, finally, as it was titled Now in Colour.
Yeah.
Which was the 70s. Big change in the house. The house started to change a bit more then. And obviously the clothes were a lot different. That was a pretty cool episode. That was when things got really strange because obviously she had the really rapid pregnancy.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
And the patronising doctor.
Yeah, that it completely threw me. I was just like, what the hell is going on? Plus I was like, isn't Vision a robot?
Yeah, but he's special.
He is very special. So yeah, I don't know. I can't remember a lot of what else happened in that episode apart from the fact that she was pregnant.
Well, this was the
Monica,
like you say, with Geraldine as well, wasn't it? Am I right?
Geraldine.
Was
that her name? Yeah, was that her name?
That Monica's name.
Monica Geraldine. Yeah.
Monica was Geraldine.
Yeah, when the stalk's there. That's the stalk that she's trying to get.
Oh yes, it shows up at the house, doesn't it? Yeah, that's.
And she keeps trying to get rid of it, and it keeps like she tries to make it disappear, and this red smoke comes around, and it just kind of like goes, no, I'm still going to prat around the house.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. I remember. Yeah. Because obviously Monica's trying to figure out what's going on. I think.
I wonder when the point was, because obviously with being let's just call it in the Vision for now. We'll get to the proper name later. But that's the first time she kind of almost breaks character, doesn't she? Well, she does, because she goes, she talks about Ultron.
Yeah.
Yes. That was it, yeah. And Monica's Geraldine, whatever she's called, starts asking her questions.
Yeah.
And she's like, how do you know this? And yeah. That's when I started to think, oh, maybe she is controlling this. That was the first point I realized.
Yeah.
There was something I saw on YouTube, so I skimmed through one video in preparation for this, and also it was because it was playing adverts every like minute and a half, which was really irritating.
Not for the person who's monetized by those adverts.
Yeah.
Especially on subjects like this.
People are going to be watching it soon after finishing. But they were saying that their theory was that that's the moment that Wanda kind of fully realized what she'd done.
Yeah.
She wasn't aware of it all until that point when she.
Yeah, sounds fair.
Yeah. How do you know that? And then she sort of like takes a bit more of a controlled approach to it all of like, no, I'm going to do this the way I want, And like up until then, it'd just been like the beekeeper she'd seen and just gone, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
And that's as conscious and aware as she'd been.
Yeah. I think there was a moment with Vision as well, wasn't there, where he asked her like a really, I can't remember the exact question now, but it was like a tough question. You could see the sort of like discomfort on her face.
Yeah, I think that was.
She had that moment of going like, what am I going to say? And then it skipped back to him.
Yeah.
Like 3 lines before, and then everything changed. Like the tone of it changed. The music went all tweedy diddly.
Yeah.
And then like it was all very different. And one of the videos that I'd watched as well pointed out that when she's gotten rid of Monica, Glenda as she knew her, and Vision comes back in and says, where is she? I think it's like repeated over 3 times because of like an end of an episode and a recap, and then the beginning of the next episode or whatever. And she has a different answer each time.
Yeah.
She's like, one time she says, "Oh, she had to rush off." Then she's like, "Oh, she doesn't belong here," or you know, and then another one as well. And there was like 3 different answers, which was like, "Ooh, that's kind of strange. Why have they done that?"
And it's manipulating as well, isn't it? And it was such a scary moment when she did push her out, when she did, because that was the first moment we realized what the hell was really going on, when she shoved her out of the dome.
Yeah.
And we saw the dome.
I was annoyed then because I was saying I was limiting myself to 2 episodes a night at that point. And I was like, right, it's just right. We've notched up again now. We're in 3rd. We've just notched up into a good gear.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to watch another episode until tomorrow night. I was like, no, I was so annoyed because I was like, I really want to like watch the next one now, because you could tell that they were we'd done the bit of a warm up and a bit of a jog, and we were just about to like get cracking, and then couldn't watch another one.
I've got to say on that note, actually, I'm really liking things being serialized again and being weekly.
Same.
Are you? Okay, great. Because I know generally I'm in the minority here, but like, binging's great because you're not left with cliffhangers and everything. But when I binge things, everything blurs together. Yeah. And I don't remember what happened when. I just watched this thing and it took a week.
Yeah, that's what Cobra Kai's like.
But it's like, if it's 1 episode a week, I have that 1 episode, and then I think about it for a week, and I digest it all. And then by the time I'm watching the next one, I've already thought about that one. Then it gets the recap, and then I watch it, and it's all just a bit more sort of like, I internalize it a bit more and like actually sit with it and think about it and appreciate it a little more, rather than
I've really enjoyed it. And I kept saying to you, Mark, I was like, you need to start watching it. I've been nagging him for weeks, so I was like, why are you not watching it yet?
I binged over a week though.
Yeah, you did. It wasn't all in one day.
I don't like binging as in like literally sitting all day and watching it. I don't like that, because then it's over too quick.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like in the middle.
Yeah.
Where, like I say, I waited until I knew that I would have that last episode to be able to watch when I was ready for it. Exactly. But at the same time, I didn't want to wake up on that final Friday and just watch every single episode. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Even if we are in lockdown. But I don't know. I might try the weekly thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. It's just, I like it's for him, or like our Friday night ritual, like we'd get dinner and we'd sit down and we'd like, right, okay, let's watch WandaVision, and then we'd like watch it and be like, oh my god, I've got to wait a week, oh well, and then enjoy the weekend, and then by the time Friday comes around, it's like, oh my god, it's WandaVision day, and it was so exciting.
And that's it. And that was going back to Game of Thrones. That was like I kept a Sky subscription for like 2 or 3 years more than I needed to, because I liked being able to watch Game of Thrones on Sky Atlantic when it was on, because it was that thing of looking forward to it and having a bit of a hype and like getting excited for it. And what was I going to say? It kind of reminds me of like when I was a kid, like, so just to totally take over the conversation for a second, but so I recently got all my old comic books from when I was a kid, and I used to collect Sonic the comics.
Nice.
I was looking through them all because they came out the attic of my parents' house when they moved out. I was looking through them, and so many of the individual pages, I remember the exact artwork, the storyline, like everything about it, because I used to get it once every fortnight and just spend the rest of the next 2 weeks just like poring over it and like analysing every little bit and drawing out the pages for myself and things. And it just kind of reminds me a bit more of that. Like, I do like binging some things, and there's a time and place, like sitcoms that are like 20 minutes, I'll just whack on, watch a few episodes, and then go to bed or whatever. But I do love having like 1 or 2 things a week to actually look forward to, which I think has kind of been lost, which I personally feel is a bit of a shame. I mean, I've got one tonight actually. There's an anime I watch, Attack on Titan, at midnight. They'll be releasing the new episode. I'll be watching that. I'm supposed to be getting an early night. I'm knackered, but I won't.
Not gonna happen. Oh, cool. So going back to how we all felt when she came flying out the dome, that which was very Truman Show, seeing the actual dome shape. I was just like, oh my god, that's sick.
That boat hit that back sky wall. went through.
Yeah. Through to the other side.
Yeah. And then obviously we saw everyone set up outside waiting for her, and coming in, you know, seeing if she was okay. And it was like, holy shit, everyone had already set up camp at that point.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And you were like, okay, so who are these people? You know, and why are they here? Are they here to help or what? And we weren't quite sure at that moment.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was very cool.
I honestly couldn't remember Sword. Like it felt familiar to me.
I was like, have we heard of these guys
them.
before, or is this a new thing? So I'm guessing we have heard of them before then.
I can't remember. The only place I can think of is maybe in Captain Marvel, because obviously, not Monica Rambeau, Maria Rambeau was supposedly one of the people who set it up. So I thought, well, maybe she talked about it in Captain Marvel, but I don't remember it.
No, I don't.
I need to look that up now. I need to look up, when did we first hear about Sword in the MCU?
I'm currently looking it up. I'm not sure if that will answer while we're talking.
All right, okay.
Yeah, and then it must have been the episode after that we actually got to see all the we got to see all the prelude before Monica went in, and we got to see
which
Sword.
was quite cool.
Yeah, which of course at that point they were showing her that Wanda had broken in to the place and stolen Vision's body.
Yeah.
But before that, anyway, the beginning of that episode was her waking up in the hospital, wasn't it?
The blip,
reappearing.
Yeah.
That was insane. When that started happening, I was just like, oh my god. It was amazing. And she's running through the hospital and all these people are just reappearing all around her.
Yeah, she like knocks a guy flying, doesn't she? Who like literally like blips in front of her, and he's probably like feeling a bit weird, and the next second he's like being knocked on his arse by someone. Like,
it's insane, because of course, like when Endgame, you know, no, obviously it happened at the end of Endgame. When we saw everyone obviously coming back at the end of Endgame, we were just seeing like our characters. We were just seeing the Avengers, so we weren't seeing like. Obviously, we see in Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home.
When that whatever that instrument he's playing, I think it's a trumpet player, or whatever, gets absolutely floored in the basketball court at the school, doesn't he?
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that. I was gonna say we see like the repercussions of it, but we didn't really see a lot of the coming back. And if you think about it, I mean, Jesus, it would really like make a massive impact. I mean, you know, I don't know. If you're flying a plane at the time and you disappeared, are you just going to appear in the sky and then fall to your death?
That's where it gets complicated, because in the scene in this episode, there's someone who blips back on a hospital bed.
Yeah.
So did the hospital bed blip back with her, or like, you know, like you say, does she just, he or she, I can't remember if it was he or she, do they just appear in midair as if they would be there on the hospital bed, and then it's not there? So
I think so. Like, that's what I'm taking it as.
Yeah, but she didn't. She or he blipped back onto a medical bed and was being pushed. So you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's strange.
It is, yeah. I think, but personally, I think that's one of the best things about the whole Infinity War Endgame thing, is not just that they did it and it was like, oh shit, I can't believe they did that. The fact that they've actually like followed it through, and you see the consequences, and the fact that, because obviously it's a world-changing thing. And I think if it was done poorly, they would try and gloss over it because it's hard to kind of portray it properly.
Yeah.
They spend half of Endgame like going, look, this is the ramifications and how people have been living this whole time.
Yeah.
And then Far From Home obviously it's a pretty key feature early on in the film, and then in this it comes up again as like, just look how everyone was as a result. I just think it's great. I think they're doing it very well, as long as they don't just start moving past it immediately now.
Yeah, it was definitely a really cool opening, and obviously to finally see Monica, you know, and all grown up, and then hear obviously that her mum's passed, and so we're now seeing the progression in her story, and she seemed to be a bit funny every time Captain Marvel was mentioned as well, which
she did, didn't she?
Yeah. So that threw me a bit. I wasn't too sure where that's going, but
that was when they were talking about Jimmy Woo was saying, oh, you know, Scarlet Witch Wanda nearly took out Thanos.
Yeah.
Like I thought she was the only one who could potentially do it, and then or whoever it is that's saying that, and then Jimmy says, "Well, Captain Marvel came pretty close," and like you say, that kind of like, it's like, "Oh, what's happened?"
So I'm not sure what's happened.
The end of Captain Marvel, and now.
Speaking of Monica and Maria, going back to Sword very briefly, I found the answer. They mention it in Thor, but this is the first time I've actually seen it.
In Thor?
Yeah, the first Thor.
That's why we don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. Eric Selvig, the scientist.
Yeah. No one rewatches the Thor films.
Yeah, he literally just mentions it. He says, the quote is, "This time we're using the SHIELD astrophysical records and we cross-reference them with the Sword database." There you go. So you won't remember.
That's why we don't remember it. Yeah.
Fair enough then.
That's why we don't remember it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Interesting. But yeah, so it was really cool to see another aspect then, to see Sword. That was really interesting, and I really like Jimmy Woo's character. I think he's great.
Yeah.
How good is it when he yes, yeah. That was a brilliant moment. I had a little moment on my couch and just went, "Hey!" Because obviously, like, there's the moment in Ant-Man, isn't it, when he's like, how do you do it, Scott?
Yeah.
What? The close-up magic.
I was also spending the 5 years practicing.
Brilliant. That was a cool little moment.
Yeah, it comes back in. I know we're not there yet, but it does come back in the final episode.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened in the rest of that episode now, apart from them all setting it all up. And that's when she actually ends up going through, isn't it?
And there's those weird policemen that are like, "We're from Eastview. Westview doesn't exist."
Yes.
That's interesting.
Another thing that was never quite explained, because Westview did exist.
Yeah.
Unless she somehow, but maybe as part of the spell, she altered the memories of the local people so they wouldn't try and enter.
Potentially,
yeah. That's the thing, because other people surely would have tried to enter unless she'd have stopped them. Yeah. So she must have done something like that. Interesting. So that was really cool. So she went through into the dome, and then we hit the 80s after that, which was very, very cool. I love the 80s, man. So that was all Full House and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember anything specific happening in that episode. Do you guys remember?
Does the dog turn up in episode 4?
Yes, that's when the kids are obviously...
Yeah, they go from... Yeah, so that is quite significant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's significant,
Very quickly.
They do age very, very quickly.
And arguably, we see... Is it Billy that he has potential powers? Because if you watch him when he's doing the dog training, he does that.
Yes.
And I wonder if that's him.
I didn't answer that.
I don't know how I noticed it, but I did. I went, I wonder if that's got anything to do with like powers. Because I knew obviously she had kids and they would have powers. So I thought, well, if they've got kids, they're sort of gonna manifest at some point in this series, aren't they? And when he did that on his head, I was like, Because obviously, when Vision later on he does that on Norm, doesn't he? And he does that on Agnes and whatever. Yeah. So in my head, that was like, it's a superhero power thing. It's Professor Xavier, isn't it? And everything. And so I wondered if that was, and it did, because I watched I felt well chuffed with myself. It was like, when someone's about to say the answer that you already know and you try and say it before them. I knew first.
Yes.
The guy came up to it and he was like, and then we see Tommy with the dog. And I went, and he's training him. He's telepathically doing it. And I was like, yes. I noticed something.
Just trying to make sure that we've not gone past the point when a certain person appears. Is it the end of this episode? I think it must be. I'm trying to look through the cast list. Yeah.
Yes, it was 80s. I remember him being all like, like that kind of.
That makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh well, yeah. That's when Days of Future Past was set. Was it?
Yes. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well spotted. Yeah.
God, I love that film.
It was a good film.
So good. So at the end of that episode, when she opens the door, and hasn't she just been talking about him as well? She's just been talking recently.
Yeah, to the boys, didn't she? She said, "Oh, I have a brother, but he's a long way away," or something like that. Yeah,
that's it. And then, literally, the end of that episode, she opened the door, and you could just knew from her face, and then from the back, And I was like, well, from the back of his head, I was like, oh my God, no way, they've got Aaron Taylor Johnson back. And then literally when they showed his face and you saw Evan Peters.
Do you know what? I've
my
got to
mind.
admit at this point, I didn't realise at all. I was just
Really?
like, oh, he's back, and forgot that it was the wrong one. Like, just didn't make the connection at all. I was just like, oh my God.
I think my dad was the same. I don't think he realised either.
Yeah, it was like within the week that I went, oh my God, it's a different
Within the week. For
Great.
me, it was like the biggest moment so far, like bigger than like pushing Monica out of the thing and seeing the dome. Like when he turned up, I was like, holy shit! I just like running around the room in circles, just like, I can't believe they've done this. This is amazing. What does this mean? Like,
see, I think we spoke about this, didn't we, Mercedes? It had kind of been ruined for me, so it wasn't as big as a moment, because I tried as much as I could to not see anything on WandaVision, because I was waiting to watch it in the last week leading up to the final episode being released. And I'd seen something as I was scrolling through, like on Facebook or whatever, that was like the reason why they chose X-Men's Quicksilver over Age of Ultron's Quicksilver. And I was like, I didn't obviously read into the article. I just flashed past the title, and then so it wasn't a big moment for me, but I can totally get why it would be, because you'd be like, what? What's going on here? I mean, I kind of obviously was like that.
I suppose you do have that reaction if you're not too slow to notice.
I just started thinking like, they're doing some crossover, I was like, X-Men coming in.
Is this a window or doorway?
Yeah, so I probably got a little bit too excited, but I was holding myself back going, it can't be this perfect. And of course we do find out later that it's not, and I wasn't going to get what I wanted. But in that moment in time, we had the amazing Quicksilver because he was way better than Aaron Taylor Johnson's one, even though obviously he was her brother. He's still way better in Days of Future Past.
I think I remember, like, I honestly think, like, I thought nothing to Wanda and Pietro when I saw them in Ultron.
Oh,
like,
yeah, same.
I mean, they're quite. She had the kind of like the cool sort of story arc to get to where the sort of power that she had by Ultron, by the end of Age of Ultron. But like they were just kind of felt like a bit rubbishy characters. And then obviously like there was the slightly hammy Russian accents. Well, they were Russian, even though they're Sokovian, do you know what I mean? But that sort of Eastern European, sort of Soviet style accents and stuff. And like, whilst I like them both as actors, I think as an actor doing accents, that Sokovian Soviet Russian one can sound. I don't know if I've ever seen any actor pull that off. Like, even Mickey Rourke, who was good in Iron Man 2, it still sounds so cod, as good as they are. And for me, being an actor as well, like if I'm not getting past their accent, I don't care how good they are as actors. I don't care how good. If I'm not believing the accent, I'm not believing the character. And so that's why they felt quite hammy to me. So I wasn't massively, I like I say, I loved the sort of journey that Wanda went on through that film, but like Quicksilver was just a bit like, you didn't see that coming, like, and it was nothing on Aaron Taylor Johnson, because I really like him and I think he's a great actor. I loved him in the Kick-Ass films, which actually, quick link, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Evan Peters, both in Kick-Ass together.
Yes, it was on the other night. And literally Jamie went, look, there's Evan Peters. I was like, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. But so I never had any sort of like ties to it. So if for me, like after seeing that article by accident, there was no part of me that went, oh, they're going to replace them. Yeah. I was just like, oh, okay, well, he was good in Days of Future Past, so great, yeah.
I remember in Age of Ultron, which isn't my favorite film. I remember when they appeared, I was really excited because I was like, oh, new characters, this is great. And then they killed him, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, seriously?
Just got here.
So excited for new characters. And then, she was a bit like, a bit bad and stuff, and then obviously she came through.
People couldn't get used to the at first, could they? I didn't mind it, but when I went to see it with all my mates, they were like, what was she doing with her hands? It was so stupid and like crap. It wasn't real at all. I was like, dude, they've just flown over a whole city. Like, you know, but that didn't bother me. And I quite like him. And actually, I've seen in interviews and stuff recently, they said like, apparently she had like a dance coach who went over all the hand movements with her. And it was all about like her with the manipulating the strands of magic and chaos or whatever she was, you know, using. And that it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to do a wafty finger.
No,
there was a reason behind it. Yeah.
That's cool. No, I totally got that. I mean, and I've definitely grown to love Wanda more over the years for sure.
Sorry, just one final point on that, because what you just said there is very much true, because in Age of Ultron, if anything, Quicksilver is the better of the two characters because he has the whole thing with Hawkeye, whereas Wanda's kind of just like, she's a bit bad and then she's not, and then it's the end of the film.
Yeah. Yeah, at that point,
Ultron in one sense.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite ones out of them all. Of course, I've missed out. Obviously, Darcy appeared in the episode before this, though.
Yeah.
Obviously, which was amazing. I knew she was coming into it, but I couldn't wait. And the moment she did, I was just like, "Yes, girl, she's back. She's hilarious. I love her."
Comes in charge, just telling him like, "Going, get me a TV."
Yeah, she's not a character though. She's just Kat Dennings, just tip it up and like, here's a spoon. I don't need that. But that's not a bad thing for me. I mean, I hated Two Broke Girls, but I like Kat Dennings a lot.
Yeah, I've never watched Two Broke Girls. It's not for me, but I do really.
I've
like
seen
her.
bits of it, and again, not really for me.
Yeah,
no.
But she's the same in pretty much everything she's in, and that was she could be the same character from both those programs, just in a different situation. But it works well in the Marvel stuff.
Definitely. I just loved it how she came in and was like, everyone was like, yeah, who are you? We don't even know who you are. And then she just like figured it all out on the TV. I was just there like eating her popcorn and stuff, watching it. Yeah. So that moment when Pedro came in at the end of that episode, and she's just like, oh my God, they recast Pedro.
She recast Pedro? Yeah, that was quite cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And one thing about that whole TV thing is like, why was she the only one who cared? That was like the best source of data they had, and she was the only one who watched. They didn't even seem to record it or monitor it. They just went, all right, you crack on and watch your little sitcom.
Yeah. After, what is it? Because Hayward comes in at one point, doesn't he? And like he's trying to conduct the meeting or something, then like everyone starts to quieten down, and you just hear the sort of like the episode playing in the background, and they're all looking around going, where the fuck's that noise coming from? And then they turn around and she's watching it.
Yeah, exactly. I love when she's like, what? I'm invested.
Yeah.
So funny. No, it was so cool. But also on that, it's never really, because she's like, oh, she recast Pedro, and obviously it is. No, I forget what I was going to say, because it is revealed at the end, sort of, in a way. Never mind. Ignore me. I can't talk about that yet. I can't talk about that yet. And then of course they start deciding to send people in. Is it at that point when they send the beekeeper?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well,
he turns into the beekeeper.
He turns into the beekeeper. Yeah. So that was even more Stranger Things, because of course he was wearing a hazmat suit when he went in.
Yeah.
It was so weird, because like you say, he went in from outside underneath and came back up.
I wonder if that was just a complete moment to get you to go, oh, what's going on? But just a red herring.
Yeah,
because nothing became of it afterwards. No. Like, and it almost like it was like stirred you in a different direction. Isn't it? Is this going to get a bit dark and creepy? And then it just didn't do that.
No, it didn't at all. Well, not at that point anyway. Later on, the Halloween episode was, of course, the point when Vision started to suspect things.
Yeah, he was. It was the end of the 80s episode, wasn't it? Where he was like, "You're just using your powers in front of her and don't care."
Yes.
What's going on?
Because at that point, Wanda was just like, she just wasn't, like you said before, Nick. After she'd realised a bit more what was going on, she just stopped caring.
Yes.
And he said as well, didn't he? He said, "You can't control me," and she said, "Can't I?"
Yeah.
And then the fake credits roll.
Yeah, fake credits.
What does that mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And he was suspicious of Pietro, I would say, already at that point. Of course, the kids are loving him and getting on with him. And she's just like, it's my brother. What's the problem? But no.
The Halloween episode was where you got a glimpse of Pietro as well, wasn't it? Where she sort of like looked at him and saw bullet holes, I think it was.
Yes.
Was
that this episode? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
The Halloween one, I thought so.
She has to look over to him and he's just like...
Yeah. And then she starts to realise.
Yeah. But obviously now we, like later on, you find out something and go like, what? Because that wasn't how he looked. But then obviously it's not how he looked, is what she remembers.
Exactly.
And she shouldn't remember anything because she wasn't there when it happened.
No. She felt it though, because she did remember she broke down at that moment when he died. Yeah. So I think they just, because they're twins, it was that connection. I'm sure she'll have seen his body. Did she see his body? Maybe not.
Not just
maybe
magical twins.
Maybe out of story, but not. Yeah. I don't think we saw anything visually in a scene with her seeing it. So
no, not at all. So when Vision went off wandering around, that's when everybody started. He went wandering around outside of town because that was it. And Wanda had said to the kids, "Don't go past that street," and you were like, "Why?" And I thought that was just exactly where the wall was, but it was even earlier than that.
Yeah.
That's where she wasn't quite controlling people as easily past that point.
Yeah, I did the same as you and just assumed it was where the boundary was until they started going off and looking. I was like, oh.
I think I did the same as well, yeah. And like you say, then he goes there, doesn't he? Yeah.
And of course, he bumps into, at the time called Agnes, Catherine Hahn's character, in her car, and does the same thing as he did to his work colleagues, where he kind of brings them back and they're aware of what's going on. And at that point, she tricked me, because I'd already, obviously, like I said, I was already thinking that she was maybe a bad character working with Hydra or something. And then when he did that, I was like, oh, she must just be one of the people that live there then. And it was really bothering me for like a week, because I was like, but it's Catherine Hahn. Why would you cast Catherine Hahn as just one of the other characters? As the nosy neighbour. I was like, there's something not adding up. And Jamie was like, well, maybe she was just acting. Maybe she was just pretending to be one of those people. I was like, really? But it felt so real.
Yeah, it did. But I kind of assumed they'd cast her because she had the comedic stuff for the early sitcom things.
Yeah.
She's just such a good comic actress. Yeah.
She is.
Such a good actress, but
I love her.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Like throughout the show, she's just been great.
She has been brilliant.
I think she did really well with the kind of part she was given. Not that it was a flat part, or it wasn't. I don't know. I just thought she did really well considering what the part was and how good she is.
Yeah. I mean, it only becomes more later, doesn't it? Up until then, she's just playing the 2D character of nosy neighbor.
Yeah.
Helpful best friend as his
character.
But that obviously always had to be more to her, because she is such a great actress, and there'd be no point just casting her as that.
Yeah. I have to say that I know it sounds like an obvious thing, but Elizabeth Olsen steals it. Like, you watch her acting throughout each style, and she absolutely nails every single one. I really enjoy Paul Bettany, but I don't think he nailed the styles of comedy in the earlier episodes as much. Anyway,
he was just good in different places, in different sections, wasn't he?
Yeah, essentially. But then you could debate and argue that was an acting choice from him, because he as Vision wasn't aware of what was going on, so he was just bouncing off her, which is why that. But if we're looking at it from a simple view of like acting skill, Elizabeth Olsen like just nailed every single episode style like brilliantly. And when we hang on, wait, are we at which episode? We're still on the Halloween one.
End the Halloween one.
Right. Okay. Oh well, I was like, yeah.
I don't know what. Yeah. On that though, like you say, like just it's even from like there is the head tilts like in the early ones, like, hun, like she's doing that little like thing like that. It's just Brilliant. Okay, bringing you on to breaking the fourth wall then.
Yes. No, I just thought like essentially Elizabeth Olsen was doing an impression of Julie Bowen in Modern Family. I know there were other references to different sitcoms and stuff, but she absolutely, if she was going for an impression of Julie Bowen, she absolutely nailed it. Like
So,
that
I've never watched Modern Family. It's Jamie's favorite sitcom. I know. It's his favorite sitcom.
So good. It's so clever. You have to watch it. It's brilliant.
That's what he says. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it's
I know this isn't about Modern Family, but it did lose me. How many years did it go on for? 10? So it was about years.
10 or 11.
We had 9 episodes of this.
No, sorry, Modern Family.
Seasons of Modern Family. I think it was 10 or 11. Yeah.
Okay, well, say it was 10 for a round number. It was about 6 or 7 that it lost me, and then 10 I went back to and was like, yeah, it's still good. It kind of lost me because it did what sitcoms do, because they can't avoid it. Like, they became caricatures.
Yeah.
I just got it. But early on, when it's all fresh and new, and everything's like the first time that thing has happened in that program.
Yeah, so good.
So clever, so witty, and just like,
even if just watch it, Mercedes, for Ty Burrell, because it's like some sort of. I mean, all the performances are brilliant, but Ty Burrell is just like a comedy acting masterclass.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely brilliant, and he's who I aspire to be as a parent.
Oh, he's the main like dad guy, right?
Yeah.
Jamie goes on about him as well.
Yeah, he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Okay, maybe maybe one day I
should watch it, and then we can do a Modern Family podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that'll take forever, but okay. But yeah, that was a really cool episode, because obviously that was very late 2000s or 2020s, whenever it was, that they're breaking the fourth wall. And it was really cool to see them do, like, to go from what they were doing in the 50s style to go into doing that. It was so different. It was strange as well for Vision to be doing it. Was it in that episode? It must have been that episode.
Yeah, you're right, when he sits in front of the ice cream truck.
Yes, because at the end of the Halloween episode, of course, is when she expands the dome, of course, and takes Darcy in. That
was another moment for me where I was annoyed, because that was the second episode of the night for me, and I was like, no, I want to watch another one. And that, because I think I'd messaged you at that point, hadn't I? And I said, I've just finished and you were like, and I was like, that was so good. Like, when she just like lost it and was like, eyes red, and then the hex just went, and they're all going, get out there, and Darcy going, oh fun.
It was really, everyone's like driving away, and she's like fastened to the car. And then literally ended it, I was like, oh my God, Darcy's got in.
Yeah.
So cool.
But one other thing about the Halloween episode we forgot to mention, and it's really brief, but did you know what they were dressed up as, what the costumes were?
No.
Yeah, as in WandaWandaVision. They were their old. They were their old, like, original costumes, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Even though he pretends he's a Mexican wrestler and whatever, and he says chili con carne. But it was their original costumes, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Interesting. I have to tell everyone that. That's cool. But yeah, that was crazy when she expanded it and took in. And I love how because as it was going out, I was like, okay, what is everything going to turn into? And then it became the circus.
Yeah.
Cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously Darcy obviously went into character mode when we first see her again in the next episode, and obviously Vision wakes her up.
Because actually, again, we missed it. Vision coming out of the hex, and you see the bits of him like flying away and everything, and
that was insane.
And he's going, "Help me," or "Help them," or something. What does he say? Because he looks right at Darcy, doesn't he? And he's like, "Help them."
I think it was help them, because he realized what Wanda was doing, and even though he loves her, he was like, "There's people in here who are in pain, and she's hurting them," and he's there, and he's like, he's coming apart, and everyone's like just trying to shoot him or whatever, and Darcy's like, no, you need to help him, and bless her.
Yeah. And then we go in.
and then we go in, and he wakes her up, and what was she, such this like funny character? What character was she again in the circus?
The escape artist.
That was it. Yeah.
Because she sits there in the chairs, doesn't she? And they're talking, and he's going, "Do you not remember me? We locked eyes and had a moment together." And she's like, like, just snaps the chains.
So funny.
And
But
then
when he
she's
sat
like,
outside,
okay, I'll go out on a date with you. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, and
Yeah, and then
Vision's
he
also
has-
given the interview style.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That was weird. I just found it really weird. Because obviously she sat there in her like pajamas and stuff doing it on the chair like you would see in one of those shows, and he just sat there as Vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was strange.
Yeah.
And obviously there's the moment when he goes, "What am I doing?" and just
Yeah.
gets up and leaves.
Yeah, he's like, why am I doing this? Yeah.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah. That was cool. I can't remember what else happens then.
Well, they have all the when they're in the ice cream truck, they get stopped by the red lights and
That
stuff.
was
So obviously
She's trying to stop
Wanda's
them.
trying to stop him from getting back to her, isn't she? Because she also the kids go, "Oh, where's Dad?" And she was like, "Oh, he's gone out." Da, da, da. And they also say, "Where's Uncle P?" And she's like, "That man is not your uncle. You don't believe a word he says." Because he did the whole thing. What does he say? Come on, it's not like your dead husband's going to die again.
Yes.
She's like, shut up.
See, this is the benefit of having someone that's just watched it all this week. You can remember everything.
Right.
But yeah, that was really good because she realised then, so we stopped trusting him.
Isn't that when Agnes then says, you need some time to yourself, I'll take them off your hands?
That's right, yep.
Yes. Oh yeah, the dog's already dead at this point as well.
Yeah.
Now, do we think she says that the dog leaves, but do we think she killed it? Because that's what I thought. I was like, she's blatantly killed that dog. What for, though? What's the gain in it for her? But she says, she tells the kids and Wanda that he ate some poisonous leaves or whatever. Yeah. And apparently there's a link to that. I wouldn't have known this, but I was watching the breakdown videos and they said that Agatha has these poisonous flowers or hallucinogenic flowers in her garden in the comics or something.
Oh, it'll be like what's it called, belladonna or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, so she does that, doesn't she? And but then she, like you say, she says, "Oh, I'll look after him for a bit. You eat your cereals." Which I was kind of jealous of at the time watching. I was like, "Oh, they quite fancy bowl of cereals now." I didn't, but some internal thoughts.
Yeah, that was don't trust her moment. Didn't trust that at all.
Yeah.
And
I was very naive because I just quite liked the character.
Oh man, just there for a reason. And then I can't remember if anything else happened. It was at the end of that episode. Then she went to look for them. She went to look for the kids, and that's when she went into Agatha's house. Just looking at the pictures on IMDb to remind me of what happened.
They're just downstairs in the basement. Maybe they're downstairs playing in the basement, and she sees the weird book thing on the curtains as well.
Yeah. That moment when she's like, "Where are the children?" And it's like, right, shit's about to go down. We're about to find out everything now.
Yeah.
So
is it at the end of this episode the theme tune she gets?
Yes, that's what I was just about to say. Oh my god!
I think doesn't it happen? Oh no, you're right. It is. Yeah.
Because that's the picture I just saw. And
sorry, with them doing the whole like Modern Family style sitcom thing, she's sat there doing the whole like, I'm fine, da, 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 and the voice in the background goes, "Do you think that you deserve this?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're not supposed to talk."
Yes.
And I've totally forgotten what my point was then, so carry on.
No, but it was a good moment. It was like another weird moment. But yeah, no, at the end, after the episode's finished, she gets that. Well, but we'll talk about what actually happens. Obviously, they go into the base. She goes into the basement, and it's all weird and mystical and purple, and witchy. And then she appears.
You thought you were the only
witch in town,
lady using powers around here, or something like that. The only witch around here, or something, doesn't she? Yeah.
Oh my god, she just went from like really, really cool to just amazing. Catherine's just incredible, and she owns that character so much.
And she sang the theme tune apparently.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool. That little theme tune, and it showed her in each of the different eras and all the little things she'd done behind the scenes. And then at the end, like obviously, like in any normal like film or TV show, I would be like hitting the roof about this, and then she goes, "And I also killed Scruffy," or whatever her dog was called, and it's like, oh my god. That was brilliant.
I like the one when it looks back all the moments that she's manipulated, and when Pietro is at the door and she's just having a picnic outside. Like, that's quite funny.
So brilliant. Absolutely love it. No, she's great. And they did that very, very, very well. Very well.
Yeah.
And then, the next episode, we find out everything pretty much that's happened.
And we get, at the end of that previous episode, we get our first mid-credits scene, don't we?
Which I didn't know about until the following week, because Meg told me to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that was the first one, and I panicked and thought, shit, what's the one before? And I was like, no, we did always watch the credits.
I watched everyone just in case.
Just in case.
Oh, and we also skipped the fact that Monica went to her aerospace friends and got that giant buggy that she tried to get back into the hex.
Was that then?
And and she didn't. Obviously, it hit the hex and just went, and then she struggled. She got out. Then she was like, "I'm going in." Jimmy was like, "No," and then it does that cool like sequence with her splitting between the characters from the sitcoms that she was in, and then like hers, and you hear all the things with her mum in the background and everything, and we first see her powers, don't we?
Yes, which I think I remember hearing like the other year when obviously Captain Marvel came out that she was going to be this special character that was going to have powers, but I'd forgotten about it until that moment. And I was like, oh my God, she's got powers. And Jaden was like, oh yeah, it said that it's manipulating her DNA and it's changing her.
Yeah.
So,
and I felt this at the time when she said that, and she was like, you can't go back in, like it's messing with your DNA.
Yeah.
And she was just kind of like,
yeah.
So I was like,
maybe I wanted to.
Does she know something already?
Yeah.
Maybe. But that with the truck was cool though. Like when the woman was like, "Oh, it'll definitely go through," and I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go. Then it's going to happen." And then it was just went like saying, just went like that, and then it came out and it was half a truck, and I was like, "That's so cool."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, when she said, "Oh, it'll definitely go through," I just went, "What are you basing that on?"
Yeah.
Yeah, we deal with hexes all the time. This is fun.
Exactly.
This is our hexmobile.
Yeah, exactly. That was far too confident an answer.
Yeah,
definitely.
That was a cool moment when that happened, and you saw all the different sort of things of Monica when she's kind of like in between the outside and the in, and arguably potentially in some sort of quantum realm or something. Or
definitely. That's cool. Yeah, no, that was an amazing moment, and she came through, and she was still wearing her own clothes as well.
Yeah.
So she made it completely through. And then obviously we get to see later on what these skills are, which was really cool. And we get to the moment when the kids are like, I really like your powers. And I'm like, I like yours too.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was so cool. But yeah, I guess we're on Agatha and Wanda having their battle, and Agatha taking Wanda back through kind of her life and her childhood. And we get to find out why this inside the hex has been the way it is with all the sitcoms.
Yeah.
Because of their childhood.
Yeah.
Really emotional.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. Trauma will do that to you. It's like, because it was like a really horrific setting. Like even just the bit at the beginning when they were like watching the sitcom, and the mum just looked out in the street and you saw
the guns and everything.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, some people really do just have to pretend that stuff isn't happening outside the door, don't they?
Yeah, it really made you think about what is going on in the world right now.
Definitely,
that shit really is going on in the world right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a moment I realized that Wanda obviously had some sort of powers before.
Yes, same.
Because we obviously from Age of Ultron with not Stryker, Strucker, when he was basically like the whole thing of like, oh yeah, we've used the powers of the Mind Stone to give people abilities and stuff. So I just assumed that they'd got them from from them and not actually, because I was like, when they're under the bed and they're hiding, you've got the Stark Industries missile comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And there's a moment where you see her do something. I can't remember exactly what it is now. And I was like, did she just do something?
She's about to reach out to try and deactivate it or something, isn't she? And he goes, no, don't.
Yeah. And then it shifts it back. But
it's like she's trying to manipulate it. But yeah, doesn't he also make it across the other side of the room to like grab her and protect her or something like that? as well.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
No,
I might have. Well, I read that, I think, so I might have misread
Okay.
it. But yeah, there was definitely like a glimpse of them having powers already, and I think it was a bit of a retcon, to be honest, which I don't disagree with and don't mind. I just think that's what it was. I think originally it was supposed to be that they got given the powers.
Right.
They
Okay.
changed it slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Which
like
doesn't make sense because it's like they went and enhanced the powers with it. Like that.
yeah, it's kind of like, you know, Wolverine already having his bones and then enhancing it.
You could argue from the perspective of the like Strucker and his team or whatever that they didn't know that they had them already, so they, you know, for purposes of making things good, you know, you could say that they thought that they'd given them to them. So, and also when they were in the room and she goes into the Mind Stone on the you know, the staff and everything, and she walks up to it, when they see when you see it from the two scientists or whoever they are in the office, like that's looking into the room with the stone in, they don't see her everything that we see, if you will. They just see her walking in, she reaches out and then she's collapsed or whatever. I don't think they see the bit in between, do they? So
yeah,
again, you know,
yeah, you're right.
but that was a cool moment. I quite liked that. And obviously you see the vision of Scarlet Witch.
The Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, in the Mind Stone, don't you?
Yeah.
And all it did was really was sort of, it was like a catalyst for her powers to manifest then, wasn't it? I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Absolutely. I also like that with this series, she actually got her superhero name finally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because everyone always referenced her and saying she's the Scarlet Witch, but it was never ever said, was it?
And that's the thing, like I'd never noticed until I obviously had a conversation with someone in the past year. I'd never noticed that she hadn't been called it. And then you stop and you think and you go, oh yeah, you know, you're right. They'd never said it once. But
I think that's one of the interesting things about all the modern day superhero films is watching them all when they come up with a name. Because they're all obviously very cheesy or just bad names.
Yes.
It's like so it's quite cool the way they have to kind of figure out a way of making it not that awful.
Yeah, it's like in I don't know if you guys watch the TV shit series The Flash, and like they purposely have the character of oh my god, I've not watched it in ages, I can't remember his name now. Basically the geeky character is the one that comes up with all the superhero and all the supervillain names, because he just like mashes things together. He's like, okay, they're doing this, so let's call them this. And it's purposely made to be in a geeky way.
That's right. And for the first like series, everyone in the papers call them the Red Streak or something, don't they?
Yeah. In The Flash, at first he called the Red Streak, until they actually give him a proper name.
Oh dear.
Imagine how cheesy the Red Streak would have sounded.
Yeah.
Flash isn't that bad. But yeah, obviously we then see the truth about what happened as well when she went to Sword, and she didn't actually steal Vision's body.
She took something though, didn't she?
Wait, what did she take?
Well, she took his, I don't know, arguably his consciousness or him via, you know, what would have been. So there's something where she holds a hand over him and something happens.
Oh yeah.
And you can say that's what she
starts
took.
vibrating.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was like scanning for him, like for
I thought so.
But maybe she was at the same time as taking something to allow her to, because obviously then when she gets to the estate with the letter, that's obviously from Vision, isn't it?
My God, that was so emotional.
But who put it there? Who put that note in the car?
Didn't she just?
No, I think she had that with her. I think that was from like before he died. Like they were looking at getting this house. You'd already got the plot of land. In between all the chaos of all the movies and all the you know, the fights with the villains, they had those quiet moments where he's like, "Babe, let's buy a house."
You know, in the middle of Wakanda, right? Listen, when this is over, don't forget Friday. We're going to look at that plot. Yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly.
Carry on.
But yeah, oh my God, that was when she drove up to that and then just broke down and stayed in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because you suddenly remember that they were in a relationship amongst all the chaos, and they would have been.
I'd say that was possibly the best bit of that episode.
It was cool.
Or the strongest bit of that episode was the fact that they did sort of give it time to go like, oh yes, this is how the relationship actually happened. Because in the films it was like, oh, these two are together now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they just skipped a lot, didn't they? And we just saw them like all kissy in Edinburgh.
Exactly.
I mean, Edinburgh will do that to you.
It will.
I just interestingly going back on obviously when she breaks down in the middle of the plot and everything, and she does the whole like, and then she's in the house and the Mind Stone creates, or the part of the Mind Stone from her creates Vision. I saw an interesting meme, but you know the moment in I think it's Infinity War where T'Challa says, "And somebody get this man a shield." It's a meme, and there's like 3 or 4 different times of where Wanda over the movies and the TV series is doing her like backbend sort of like Matrix acting, and then it just has the picture of T'Challa and it says, "And someone get this woman a spine." It was quite funny.
I love it. Oh, T'Challa.
But it was a cool moment that when he just like bursts out of her like via the Mind Stone part of her. That was quite cool.
Was absolutely incredible to see how she'd put it all together like that.
Yeah.
And just see her power, and to see, like everyone's been saying for years, she is the most powerful.
Well, you see all those moments now, you know, and you remember them as well, don't you, from when she fights Thanos in Endgame.
Yeah.
Because she has those moments where she, like, you know, you see like Captain America struggling, Thor struggling, Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor all struggling at the same time, and she just like knocks that sword out of his hand, doesn't she? And
exactly. And to think that, like, up until this point as well, she's not really been using much of her power, because
or understood them either.
We then see, you know, Agatha explaining to her exactly who she is, and she has a lot of trouble like accepting that and realizing, she's like, that's you know, I wasn't born like to be this person. I'm not a witch, I don't do
spells, nobody taught me.
It's like, well, no, you taught yourself. So, but yeah. Did you say girl power?
I said pure power.
Oh, right, yeah.
Girl power.
Girl power too.
Have we skipped ahead an episode there or not?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Might have been my fault, sorry.
There's an episode the one that's called Previously On is where she goes it's where Agatha takes her through her childhood, and she goes to Sword, and she goes to the plot, and we see her. I think it's the end of that episode that she builds.
It is,
Westview, yeah.
But she builds Westview, yeah. And that is episode 8. So now we're on the finale now.
And we have another mid-credit scene, don't we?
Yeah, I can't even remember what that was now.
It was Hayward in the Sword facility
with
Project Cataract with White Vision.
Yes.
And he goes, you know, we've tried everything, and all we richly needed was a part of her energy.
Yeah.
And they awake White Vision, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. And then there was an end credits as well on that episode, wasn't there?
Was there?
On episode 8?
Yeah, wasn't there 2 there?
No, I thought that was episode 9, the last one.
Yeah, there definitely was the last one. I thought there was one.
Right.
Maybe not. Probably not then.
You scared me then.
I know.
I was like, but I'm going by.
Yeah, go watch that.
Episode 8. Fast forward.
Did either of you, like, this is a very silly question, but like, did you have problems fast forwarding or rewinding on Disney Plus? Like, I just found that every time I was fast forwarding, it wasn't previewing where it was actually up to.
Yeah.
So, like, I couldn't get to the right point to see that scene.
It was really quick, yeah.
Mine's been all right, actually, I think.
Yeah,
mine's been okay. I mean, I'm watching it on a I've got my Disney Plus app on Fire Stick HD.
Oh, okay. Mine's on the PlayStation, so maybe it's the PlayStation app, or maybe.
Yeah, I've got it on my PlayStation as well, which is why I ended up getting the Fire Stick, because I wanted it for other stuff as well. But I knew that you could get Disney Plus on it, and I wasn't relying on my dying PlayStation 4 to sort of process it. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
Possibly.
We are sponsored by Amazon Fire Stick. Amazon for just.
But not PlayStation, because they're rubbish, obviously. No, I'm joking. So White Vision and Agatha and Wanda having the battle, and the witches back in the day as well. When it goes back to Agatha right at the beginning. Salem, that was cool. And she's on the stake, and then she steals all the power.
Yeah,
that was crazy. That was obviously.
So we work out like she's not just a witch. She's like Also quite powerful as well.
Really, really powerful and evil.
Yeah.
To kill her own mother.
And did they do like a little bit of a de-aging effect there, like they did with Robert Downey Jr. for Bath? Obviously not as extreme, but she looked a little bit underaged, if that makes sense. Not underage
When
as in
she was
like
in
16.
Salem.
Yeah, as in they de-aged her. That's the
Actually,
word, de-aged.
yes, when you said that, actually, yeah, I think you're right. I think I did sort of pick up on it, but just not like.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Realized that they actually did do it. I just, she definitely looked younger though.
Yeah.
I tend to try and like describe it as being made more youthful, and I often like instead of saying de-aging, I go when they euthanize.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So obviously we got to see how powerful she was, and then she teaches Wanda things that maybe she's going to regret by telling her,
The runes.
oh, you when you know the witch that casts the runes in a given space, only that person can use their powers.
Yeah.
I had a slight issue with how that came back. But
why?
Okay.
Because how does she know what the runes are? She's seen them once. She can't like possibly know exactly what they look like and get them all in the right place.
Doesn't some time pass between that? No.
It's like the episode follows straight on, doesn't it?
I guess so. I mean, you could argue with it being her physical world in Westview. Would she know what was being done, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
So therefore, she'd know what the runes were, and we saw the book as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
The Darkhold.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it's an interesting point to raise.
Yeah,
it is. I would like to think that she would just.
I think that's a TV like just get over it. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
to know for the
Pass over that. Yeah.
You get over
I
it
mean,
next one.
you could argue as well that as we're going along in the last few episodes, she's getting more powerful as it goes because she expands the hex.
Yeah,
but then I guess you could also argue that if she's expanded it, is she losing less control, therefore not as powerful?
I would say so. Yeah, I'd say she's definitely losing control of it and the people.
Yeah, that's true. She's definitely losing control in general, though, wasn't she? A lot of it was like.
She was
because her emotions were starting to get, she can't control anything.
Yeah, I think it was a mix of that. Like she'd expanded the area. She was, like you say, she was becoming more and more aware of what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, like you say, it was all fudging out because they went like, I've got to say, like some of the effects and stuff for a TV series was so cool. Like all the stuff, like where it was sort of glitching in and out between the different eras and stuff, and like the milk carton, like when she was holding it and pouring it, and it was really, really cool. Like to see that amount of a level of because you look at TV series that do that sort of special effects stuff, and they're never as much as you go, that's pretty cool. They're never quite the movie quality and the budget that they have, don't you? And I guess that's only an exciting thing, because if we're going to be promised more of this kind of series and stuff over Disney Plus and stuff like that, the technology is going to get better and cheaper to do. I mean, you only have to look at some of the techniques they used on The Mandalorian rather than doing green screen, they had the volume, they called it, didn't they? That was incredible. Did you see any of that?
I did and have forgotten since.
So it was basically this like cylinder room, and they could put anything on these, and it was like screens around all of it, and then all at the top as well. So when you see him and he's sat in the desert and stuff, and like on a fire, they created the set and stuff on the floor, but essentially the sky and everything you're just seeing via the screen and everything, and it's above. So in a way, it's naturally lit and all that sort of stuff. Honestly, watch the extras on it on Disney Plus for The Mandalorian, because it's in that technology is incredible, and you just go, this is really, really exciting.
That's quite essentially the future of filmmaking, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds cool. I think I've got that on my watch list. I've not seen it yet. The behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. So wait, where are we up to on the episode now?
Just generally the final episode. I can't. It's all mushed into one for me. Obviously you've got Monica appearing with the kids. You've got the kids running around doing their thing. You've got everyone in the town being woken up. She wakes everyone in the town up.
Yeah.
I would say one point early on in the episode is like, wow, Vision took his time from flying out the ice cream van to get in there, didn't he?
What was he doing?
I know, because I was thinking, where is he? When's he going to turn up? That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, White Vision turned up and was going to kill. It was attacking Wanda. And then
Yeah,
Vision
by the head,
turned up.
didn't he? Saying, "I
That
was
was
told
it.
you were more powerful."
Yes,
That's
that
my
was
Paul
it.
Bettany as Vision impression.
It was fantastic.
That was it, yeah.
Not on TV just yet.
Yeah.
And they went off and they had their own battle, the two Visions.
Yep.
And then he basically, and for me, he kind of brought him back to being, you know, he made him realize he shouldn't be bad. And obviously it was the final episode of a TV show. So, but for me, I was like, oh, that was too easy a little bit. It kind of happened really fast. Yeah.
But
like Vision's thing is a bit like Data from Star Trek, like the whole philosophical whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like that it's brought up again because it's easy enough to forget it because he's a superhero.
I think the actual easy route in a way would have been the fight, because you go, okay, yeah, they're too powerful, but then they'd cancel each other out. So like you say, his way of getting through that was to sort of be philosophical with him. You know, he's like, elaborate for me, and then they do the whole ship of Theseus thing, don't they, with the planks and the wood rot? And I've watched it about 3 times now, and I'm still like, I totally get it.
I had to rewind that because Jamie started talking. At that point, I was like, they're saying something really important here.
That's
it's
like,
really philosophical, sharp.
Those wordy bits of the episode. The rest is just action when you can talk quite freely.
Exactly.
Because timing awfully there.
So actually, I know, like you say, it was done really easily. But part of me kind of liked it because I went, that was never his. He was, you know, he knew he was never going to reason with Thanos's goons, was he, or whatever? Because obviously they were hell bent on destroying, because that was just their mindset. Whereas he knew he could level, or he could at least try and talk to White Vision on an intellectual level. I
suppose I'm probably thinking of it from then the point of the people that created him, that they haven't thought about it in the correct way. They just see him as this machine and this all-powerful thing, and they haven't realized that actually there's a lot more to it than that, and you can literally just have a conversation with someone and be changed.
What I did think was funny about that bit though is how he just goes boom, gone.
And we don't see him again.
We don't see him again.
No, and like Jamie was like, and is Vision going to tell Wanda that he's sorted that out? But he never does. He never says anything. So she doesn't know that he's out there now, sort of good or trying to find himself again. So what does that mean?
But is he still the original
that's
Vision?
the thing. He's more the vision than that what she created in that world, because he wasn't even real. Like, he is actually the mechanics of it. It's just bringing him back.
And he said he didn't. Well, he gave him the memories back, did he not? Hex Vision gave White Vision memories back, didn't he? Because he said they blocked them or whatever, or not allowed him access to it, whatever the wording was or whatever. But and then he did his mind thing to him, didn't he?
His eyes went back to
normal.
And then, now I don't know whether this was me or not, but like, obviously when we saw White Vision the first time, he just looked like Vision. But bear with me, because when he did the whole unlocking memories thing for him, I felt like, and I might be wrong, that he looked more like Paul Bettany that after his memories had been unlocked, like it had shifted his, you know,
like his features had shifted. Because they kind of gave him a bit more of like an angry face. Like everything, like the way they did it.
Because there was at one point when before that I was like, is that actually Paul Bettany or is it someone else that looks like similar to him? Because he did look slightly different. Obviously it was him.
So perhaps they like relaxed the makeup a bit, like made him look a bit more sort of back to normal. I didn't know. I just noticed the blue eyes going back.
It is amazing what changing eye color can do to you, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks so different. But so that for me, like, makes puts a massive question mark over the future, and you know, is he going to come back, and is Wanda going to have Vision back in the future? That's what I'm wondering.
We could find out in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
But
by the way, so I know your love for obviously Evan Peters and Quicksilver. We didn't talk about the reveal of who he is. He's just an actor, and his name's
Oh my
isn't it
god!
sort of like Ralph Boner or something like that. Or,
Ralph,
she-
It's like Ralph Boner.
yeah, she's like Boner, and he goes Boner. It's like, that's such a random. And then we don't learn anything of him again, do we?
That's it. Yeah,
She
she brings
pulls
him
the
back.
controlling necklace off him or whatever. But yeah, that was quite funny.
Yeah.
But then, did he already have those abilities, or were they just part of?
No.
Agatha gave them to him.
It's just Agatha, yeah, because that's why he's able to use Evan Peters, because it's just another person, just a normal person.
Yeah.
Ralph Boner.
Ralph Boner, yeah.
That's a sitcom reference, because there's a sitcom somewhere with the person's name is Boner.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, which I think I know from The Simpsons.
Right. Okay.
Where it's referenced, but it's just, I can't believe that's a real name.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh dear.
And then there's a reference to him when the kids, when Wanda goes, kids, you take care of the military. Mommy's gonna be right back, or whatever she says. Mommy has to deal with something.
Yeah.
And they do the whole thing where is it Tommy's the one who has the speed powers, isn't it?
I lost track.
I didn't even try and keep track, to be honest.
No, neither did I.
And he does the whole sort of like time manipulation or whatever it is, and he freezes them, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy comes around and he whips them all off, and this must be a nod to that scene in Days of Future Past, but he comes back with one of their caps on his head, and
yeah, and he's put sunglasses on them all.
Wasn't it something like that in Days of Future
Past?
Past?
Yeah, I love that scene in Days of Future Past.
Well,
I mean,
that
was
was
incredible.
incredible. Didn't they do it a second? Didn't they do it again in Apocalypse? But like he does things slightly differently, or is that when he gets them all out of the mansion or something?
No, yeah. Apocalypse out. It was so.
No,
bad.
I think you're right. I think the original ones in that bank or whatever it is, that facility, and then the second
when he messes with everyone
in X, what's it called? Professor X Manor. What's it called? Why can't I think?
Xavier's School for Gifted Children.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, during the explosion. Oh, that's brilliant scene, actually, to be fair.
But that must be a reference when the two boys do it. And then obviously like Hayward gets out, and why isn't he affected? Why hasn't he been frozen? But he gets out and shoots at them, doesn't he? And Monica jumps in and phases the bullets through her, but one misses her, and then he's just like, ooh.
That was so cool.
I thought that the little kid acted that so well.
Yeah.
Because
American child actors, I don't know what it is. They're just so good.
They are.
They're miles better than British child actors.
Yeah, they really are. I don't know what's different, but yeah.
But like, the way he just kind of like freezes it, and he's like, and he just looks up as if to say, yeah, whatever. But it's not overacted. It's really understated. And I was like, I want to go, yes, well done, mate. Well done. Carry on.
It was a really cool scene, like the three of them together, Monica and them too. It was a really nice little thing that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over very quickly, unfortunately, because
And then we get to the battle, don't we? Which was your annoyed moment, Nick, wasn't it?
Yeah. With the runes. For me, it was amazing.
Like when. Because
it was what it was. I mean, it's like, it's a Marvel thing. It's a superhero thing. It has to be a big fight at the end. So I was just like, it's fine.
It didn't click in my head that she was making runes. I wasn't that clever. I'm not going to pretend I was. But I did notice, like, she missed once. And I was like, why did she miss? Like, that's rubbish. And I went, she's missed again. She's doing that on purpose. What is she doing? It didn't compute fast enough in my head that she was making runes. But I thought that was quite cool. And I liked, obviously, like the more she kept throwing at Agatha, and then her face was just draining and becoming like skull face.
Yeah.
I didn't see it forming them either. It was just when Agatha went to go for it and it didn't work. And then I saw it showed you funny. One. Yeah, nothing. But it showed you one, and I was like, what's that? Because I didn't recognize that it was a rune at first. I was just like, what is that? And then it showed another one. I went, oh, and I realized it was the runes. I was like, yes, Wanda.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
This is why we superheroes, we're just not quick thinking enough.
Yeah.
But that was when it's like the classic thing of like the villain has like revealed too many cards. Like she's given her the way to defeat her by telling her about the runes.
Yeah,
Which is brilliant.
absolutely.
And then obviously
Now, so if you notice, so like I say, I've watched it twice now, but when she does that final one and she said like the rules, blah 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 blah, you taught me, and she does I might be wrong, but it feels like she's sucking Agatha's powers out of her.
yeah, definitely, that's exactly what she does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because then she falls down drained. Like at first I was like, well, surely like when she gets better again and she's okay, she's going to get out of this and then she's going to go after her. But the second time I watched it, I was like, I think she's taken her powers from her.
Yeah.
Or at least drained them massively.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But also it's like the door is open enough for a return should they want it to happen.
Yeah, but she's definitely like
We'll keep that in the back pocket
gained
just in
her
case.
power. It's like her power has increased anyway during all of that, and then she's realized I can take hers.
They've said like the Darkhold says that the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, which is Doctor Strange.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And I saw her on one of the videos, and I still couldn't notice it even when I watched it the second time. Apparently, when you see the book there and it shows her saying about the Sorcerer Supreme, on the other side of the other page, there's another like figure or character or something that the book was referencing, and I couldn't see it fast enough, even after watching and knowing that it was there. So I'm like, are these people watching it in like 10,000 slow motion or something? Like, how are they doing that? Like,
there must be a picture somewhere online. I'll have to have a look for that.
That's good.
Yeah, probably.
I like it when in TV shows, like there's a moment like that when they'll write something for the people who paused it, and it's literally a direct address at those people. Like, this is for the people who paused the video. It's
incredible that amount of detail that they put in it, isn't it?
I love doing that though. I love when you can see that they put detail into something, and because I did it with something a few weeks ago, I can't remember what it was now. And I was like, hang on a minute, I want to read that, and I paused it and went running right over to the TV to read what it says. So I love that.
I'm usually just like, what did that say? Oh. I can't read fast enough. Laura's really good at reading. Laura can read stuff really quick, like because she's quite a quick reader. But I try and like process it as I'm reading it, so that just slows me down massively. So whenever anything like flashes up quickly, like that sort of stuff, I'm just like, missed it.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously Wanda defeats Agatha in that moment, and then what she does to her is just, oh my god, it's like so horrible, but also very, very much deserved, you know. Putting her in, and I was confused because I was like, well, she's not keeping her in Westview because she's destroying that version of Westview. She's not going to be inside there, so it's obviously just inside her mind that she's put her in there as that character, the nosy neighbor.
Yeah,
which you can just kind of see her in, I guess, whatever the Marvel version of Arkham is.
And she also says, doesn't she, before she gets turned, she says, "You've unleashed something."
Yes. Yeah.
And you're going to need my help.
Yeah.
That's right.
And she was like, no.
I said it with her. I was like, I know exactly where to find you. I knew exactly she was going to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's definitely hinted at how powerful she's going to be, and that maybe she's not going to be great.
No, that's why it was in my head that that they're going to bring her back in some capacity at some point. Then I'd forgotten that was the line, but I think it's like she's going to have to go to her and go, like, what the hell is happening to me, or something like that.
Yeah. Because they're again, like saying, like some people have said it's potentially. I read something saying that her saying that you've unleashed something, you don't know what you've done. They're saying, oh, is it some sort of godlike creature that's now going to be the Phase 4 main villain or whatever, or this phase is Thanos or whatever, or
Well, it's got to be something huge, because I was reading about the Eternals before, and how powerful they are, because of course Thanos was an Eternal.
I love Thanos. He's one of the first superhero film villains that I've gone, I love you. Like, even though part of me kind of wanted, like, I just think Josh Brolin played it incredibly well, because
it was written so well as well, though, wasn't it? Like they balanced his view with he was the main character of Infinity War. It wasn't the Avengers; it was him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was all for it with him. I was like, yeah, go for it. Get rid of half the population. Let's do this.
awesome like lines and scenes that you had, like, you know, the one where he goes back into the Soul Stone and young Gamora says, like, did you get it? Did you do it? And he says, yeah. And what did it cost you? Everything. And that's used that's actually used, like, with my photography, like that's used so many times as a photographer's meme. Like it'll say, like, my wife when Sony have released the latest blah 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 blah, you know, and then Gamora, did you get it? Yes. What did it cost you? Everything.
Photography is an expensive hobby, isn't it?
Yep. By the way, I don't shoot Sony, so I don't know why I said Sony. But yeah, so yeah, like, exciting. What has she unleashed? Especially with all the different new films and characters and storylines coming into the MCU now, haven't we? We've got all the, like,
especially the fact that they've splintered it off into various different realities as well. Because the Loki thing that's coming up, that's going to have to be the Loki from Endgame that disappears in the past.
Yes.
Our Loki is dead.
It's so exciting. Wait, because I really want to get into this and the future stuff, but let's just completely round off this episode with the emotional aspect of it. You know, seriously, I'm like so eager to talk about the future stuff. But yeah, okay, so then it all ends and she has to destroy the Hex, which we all knew had to happen eventually. Yeah. But we all knew that the kids couldn't possibly survive it. Never mind Vision, which was really, really, really emotional. But I've just obviously the other week watched Wonder Woman 1984, and I was like, it's the same kind of thing.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh no, I don't. Never mind.
I've not.
Never mind. I didn't say anything. But yeah, it was really emotional, and I was like, oh, she's gonna have to sacrifice everything, bless her. And I mean, they dragged it out at the end, but it was really special. And there's the line. I don't even know if the line was in that episode. I think it must have been. That's now going all over the internet.
It's the one it's on the one where Agatha takes her through all the different stages of her learning.
It's so beautiful.
After Age of Ultron, and the one about love.
What is
grief?
About death? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is grief?
Grief, if
not love persevering. Oh, so beautiful.
It's a good line, isn't it? And someone came up with that in the writing room and just went, cheers, guys, I'm going for a coffee.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was that for free.
It meant a lot to me, that, actually, because obviously, like, you know, I've lost a lot of people in recent years, and I was like, do you know what, that I feel like that will help a lot of people who are going through grief, because it's very, very hard, and it can send you to dark places, and it reminds you that actually it's not necessarily a dark thing, it can be a beautiful thing. So, and I think Wanda really needed that as well, because obviously everything she did because she was grieving.
No, I think I'm making this up, but I for some reason in my head I've got that Vision sheds a bit of a tear, but he doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't.
Maybe,
because I know he talks about, like, he's been a mind or a voice without a body, and a body without a voice, and now. And then he says one other thing as well, doesn't he? I can't remember now. I think I'm just making it up that he cries. Maybe that was just me.
Yeah, but you've got it in my head now, and I'm believing you. You might have done. But yeah, that was a really emotional ending. And then obviously it winds up with her sat back in that plot on her own.
They also have the cute line that asks questions as well, where she says to the boy, she went, "Thank you for choosing me as your mum."
Yeah,
because obviously there's the storylines in the comics, isn't there, where Billy and Tommy are sort of part of Mephisto, yeah. So, you know, you could argue that obviously how did she do Immaculate Conception? Was there outside help? Because also there's theories that Agatha is also in working with Mephisto as well.
Right.
I don't know who Mephisto is, by the way.
He's like the MCU's like devil, basically.
Right.
I think, is that right, Nick? It sounds like you might know more than me.
No.
Okay. I think
it's another one where I've just seen and heard the name.
Yeah. But it was a strange line to say, "Thank you for choosing me as your mum."
I thought that, yeah.
I thought it because she made him.
Yeah.
As far as we knew, yeah.
That was quite.
Maybe.
It was quite a sweet one anyway. Even with the questions like asked within the context of that, it was quite a sweet. It was quite a sweet little thing to say to the boys, and they were just led there in their bed, and then they walked off, didn't they? Why didn't they just all? I mean, I guess the program is WandaVision.
You had to have their moment
It's
together.
WandaVision. It's Wanda and Vision. So you have to have them saying the last goodbye. But yeah. And off, and the hex just closed in on them, and there she was in the.
Just got up
in
and
the,
got
in
off
the plot on her own, didn't she?
Away. Yeah. So
and she
sad.
walked away, didn't she? Because she walked through the square, and they were all looking at her.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, she didn't get in a car. Yes, you're right.
And she met up with Monica, didn't she? Well, she didn't
Yes.
meet up with Monica. She saw Monica as she was walking away.
Yeah.
And
then she flew off. That was it.
That's right. Yeah.
And then we had two. Well, mid and post credit scene.
Yeah.
So the first one was the one with Monica, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he says where we're going to meet.
Yeah.
Ah.
Shape shifted, liked that. Yeah.
I love those guys. I can't remember what they're called, but I love them.
The Skrulls. Laura found
Skrulls.
it hilarious in Captain Marvel when she has to fight with the granny and absolutely smacks her in the face, and Laura found that hilarious.
I really enjoyed Captain Marvel. Really,
I did as well, you know. I did.
And I love Ben Mendelsohn. So
he was great, wasn't he? He was really great.
Because he usually plays like a villain, so to see him in that kind of a role, it's great.
Yeah. So she was like, "They want to see you up there," and she has that. Oh, we heard you've been grounded, but we want to change that sort of thing, don't we? Yeah. And she's just like, "Yes." And do her eyes light up blue then?
Possibly.
Maybe they don't, but she has a twinkle in them anyway, doesn't she? I'm going back. Yes.
So at that point I'd forgotten about an end credit scene from another film, which probably was Captain Marvel.
Far From Home, wasn't it?
From Far From Home. So I'm just automatically thinking they're talking about Captain Marvel, and then Jamie's like, he's talking about Nick Fury. I mean, it could be both of them anyway.
Talos as well, possibly. Ben Mendelsohn's character.
Exactly. And then Jamie showed me again the end credit scene. I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my assumption. She's going there.
That's because it's been an absolute age since we've had anything.
I know.
Which was another good reason why this series was like such an exciting thing to do, because you like, I mean, we were getting sort of near on 2 films a year, were we not? Like over the years, once it gained momentum, you know, and there were the promise at that point of, you know, last year in April, we were supposed to get
Black Widow,
weren't we? And it's still not coming out until this summer.
That's something else I was reading. Everything's changed order now, because we were supposed to get Black Widow before this stuff. So Black Widow was supposed to lead on to TV stuff. Yeah,
that's right.
It's not
it's flown, and it's something to do with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Was Volume 3 was supposed to be like one of the first films in the sort of like run of things, wasn't it? And it's been shifted further back now.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize that, but it was. But then it was delayed because of James Gunn and all that as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, that didn't help either. Yeah.
But with the TV thing in general, I think it's a very interesting way to keep the story going without overloading the box offices and making everyone bored of the films.
Yeah.
It's
a different format, and like you say, like having those weekly episodes and stuff, you're still getting your fix, but you're getting it a different way.
Yeah. And I think again, and messing with the format in terms of presenting it as a sitcom before going to standard Marvel stuff is like, it just gives them more freedom to experiment, because if they did that you'd be going,
if that happened in a film, it wouldn't work.
Pay 15 quid for this cinema ticket. Well, you would do in London, probably not in Blackpool or Warrington, but
no.
Probably still like $2.50 or something in Blackpool, isn't it?
It went down to $5 at both cinemas, because Odeon changed it to $5, so The View changed it to $4.99 to compete.
The opposite way around. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I mean, I thought we were getting it dirt cheap. Where I used to live in Bromley, and right at the bottom of my hill was a View cinema, and it was brand new.
Yeah.
Every seat was like, you know, when you go to most cinemas and it's like the VIP sections, like a really wide leather seat, like every seat.
That's what the View was like at Cleveland.
You know, and electric recliners as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And it was £8 a ticket, any day, any film. And they had some like Mondays where it was like £4. So it was I mean, that felt like cheap.
Salford Lowry is a fiver for the same seats.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like you've got like a lazy boy to yourself, the couple, isn't it?
It's so funny because every time I went there, like, you know, you get all the trailers are done and everything, and then the lights are dim even more. And as the lights were dimming out, you could just hear everyone's seats going.
Do you know what I will like? I don't actually like them as much because I'm such a fidgeter. I don't know if you've noticed on this call, but like I can't sit still.
I'm saying,
in a recliner, I can't put my legs anywhere else. They're there. So like I don't like it. So I'm constantly just like and I must annoy everyone around me. So I don't
it's like a recliner chair version of Austin Powers in that corridor with the car.
Yeah, exactly.
I have yet to be in a recliner in a cinema, so I must try this.
Oh, it's cool. Well, actually, you know what? Also, if you're going to do that, you also need to do an everyman cinema. If you've ever, have you been to an everyman cinema? Oh,
No.
right. I would say the closest one to you both was probably Leeds, but it's like basically a full-on like couch to yourself. And you can order like alcohol and pizza and stuff. There's a button on your thingy, and it's like a giant living room basically with loads of people watching on, like couches and stuff. And it's really comfy. And it's a little bit more expensive, but like you say, you get the service and stuff where you can press a button and you go, oh, can I get a gin and tonic or whatever, or can I get a pizza? Can I get
like being in first class on a plane.
It's pretty cool. They're pretty cool. But yeah.
So at Barton Grange, they've got this thing called the Flower Ball now, which is like where you can go bowling and stuff and play mini golf, and they've got a cinema there with big sofas.
Cool.
I don't know if they have waiter service, but they have sofas.
Well, so we diverted again, haven't we?
Anyway, so yeah, Monica's going to space, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Final end scene is pretty brief.
Cool though.
Oh man, so cool. First of all, I was like, oh, she's in the Rockies. How pretty is that?
Oh, you see, I instantly went Sokovia.
I instantly went Alaska.
Somewhere mountainous and cold.
The Lake District.
But yeah, that was sick because like she's just there, you know, outside chilling in her PJs and with a hot chocolate or whatever, just thinking about life. And then, oh my god, that was so Doctor Strange though, that moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the same trick, isn't it? Like the astral projection.
Yeah.
It's got to be. But like, doesn't he have to stay still while he's doing that? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm sure it's the same. Sure, it's the same trick, and I was just in like full get up as of like halfway through the episode. We missed that, but like she finally gets a superhero outfit as well.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
That was insane, that moment as well.
And you hear Billy and Tommy.
Yes, you do. But like for me, I was just like, I just thought that was just her memory of remembering them screaming as they were when they were falling apart the first time, and then but Jamie was like, oh no, they're real. She can hear them for real or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
And also, when she hears them and you see her eyes go like that, and then they light up. I might be wrong. I think I've seen it both times. I don't know if I thought I saw it the first time, and then the second time I've just told myself I saw it again. But it looked like some eyes flashed up behind her. Like, so if we're looking at her eyes like that, it was like two eyes there that flashed up.
I missed that. Maybe
that's that devil guy.
It's so quick. That's why I'm like doubting if I saw it or not. But I think I saw two eyes like go like flash up very, very, very quickly.
That now.
Which then you go, well, what the hell is that? Or who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Is that the dangerous thing that Agatha was going on about?
Yeah.
Unleashed?
Maybe.
But when she said that, by the way, do you realise what you've done? It just made me think of Dumb and Dumber.
I've also watched Dumb and Dumber once.
Realise what you've done? And that's whenever I hear that line now, I can't help but hear that line from Dumb and Dumber.
That's like you just need to edit whoever it is, if it's Lloyd or the other one, into that scene now.
yeah, it is. It's Lloyd.
Yeah, Jim Carrey. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see what happens in.
Sorry. Good,
I was
but annoying.
Say, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was never like a massive fan of the Doctor Strange film. I don't remember much of it. I kind of watched it because I felt like I had to, and didn't really enjoy it. I like him in the other films, but I'm really excited about this film now.
Yeah,
there's an animated Doctor Strange that I have over there that is basically the same story as the first Doctor Strange movie. I preferred that one, but I saw that one first, so I don't know if that's why.
All right.
Probably.
I think I'm with you actually, Mercedes. I think I didn't particularly I like Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor. I don't like him doing an American accent. Because for me, this is going back to what I was saying earlier. If I'm not believing the accent from an actor, I can't believe the character. And what I see the cogs turning with him processing the accent as an actor. I'm going to pronounce all my R's rounded so that I can talk really. And because he's a very classically trained actor, and his diction's very good, it also makes him talk like this. And I really don't like, I'm showing you that I can pronounce my American accent and it's flawless. Like I'm doing it. Yeah, but it's not natural, dude.
No, I don't like it.
That's why I like actors like Tom Hardy, who a lot of people go, yeah, but he just mumbles a lot. I'm like, yeah, but at least you feel it's real.
Yeah.
I'd rather see a real character than someone going, hello, I'm going to pronounce all my words correctly so you can hear exactly what I'm saying. and that for that reason, I found it. I've watched Doctor Strange a couple of times since, and I don't mind it. But the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, come on with the accent!"
It was really hard going.
Yeah,
but I did like him in.
Yeah.
Endgame.
Yeah, and which was it? Endgame, where he has the scene
with Thor when is it? No, with Hulk. Sorry, with Hulk. Hulk goes. No.
No. I was when he's in the HQ of the Wizards. What am I talking about?
With Thor. With Thor, that is.
Yeah, and he does the whole.
That's Infinity War.
Yeah.
That's in Infinity War because Thor's not fat.
What's it called? It's definitely not called the HQ for Wizards. What is it?
I can't remember.
I keep wanting to say the Oculus, but it's not that.
Doctor Strange HQ for Wizards. Google. See if I can find it. You guys carry on talking.
Definitely think it was called HQ for Wizards.
It's Sanctum.
Sanctum, yes.
Sanctum Sanctorum, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, which is is that not Latin for Wizards HQ? HQ for Wizards.
It is now.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, he's quite good sometimes. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I do like it. I like the films more when there's more than one character.
When it becomes almost like a mini Avengers film. Yeah. Which a lot of people didn't like about Civil War, did they? A lot of people were like, I was looking forward to Captain America Civil War, and then it just was basically a Avengers film.
One scene.
Yeah.
It was really.
I liked it.
I mean, the whole Civil War thing, how it was an Avengers thing. Well, not Avengers. It was an entire MU thing. It was the whole universe that was affected by it. Well, on Earth.
Yeah.
So if they hadn't done it like that, I think there would have been more of the sort of long-term loyal fans who'd have been pissed off in some capacity.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is always the tricky thing with these massive box office films, isn't it? It's balancing fan expectations versus what you're
never going to please everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of the time, sometimes is people. One thing that these films, as brilliant as they've been and amazing as they've been, is that now people's standards, the bar is raised. So sometimes you might go in and watch a film now that you just go, it's all right. But 10, 15 years ago, before any of these Avengers films, you'd have gone, oh my God, that film was so good.
Yeah.
But because the absolute pure epicness of the Avengers films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and a lot of other kind of films as well now, those, if it's not epic enough, some people just switch off and they go, well, I didn't really like it, or it wasn't that good. And you go, but I bet you would have about 15 years ago. We've just been, we've been given the goods for so long now that you've forgotten that what was classed as a great film 15 years ago, you would now go,
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man films, and the old X-Men's as well. It's they're right. I love
them. I think they stand up.
Yeah. Well, maybe not the X-Men films, because
maybe not
those CGI graphics in the X-Men. But that was 2000. Was it 2001, 2000?
It was very early.
Around that, yeah.
They were trying new stuff out. This is why you look at that kind of era for CGI and stuff. With even Harry Potter as well, you look at the CGI in that, and it looks so rubbish now. But, and we talked about this, when did we talk about this, Mercedes? With Jurassic Park holding up.
Yes.
Jurassic Park looks great.
Yeah.
Still.
How good does it still look now?
Yeah.
You know, you had all that technology that came into play like 10 years later, like even 6 years later, 7 years later, that they were, oh my God, like CGI, this is incredible. You know, and you look at that now and you're like,
can't beat it. But, you know, like we're saying the other night, so for Jamie's podcast, we on Friday night we did a top 10 comic book adaptations. So on Jamie's podcast, we all go around doing our top 10. So we all work down, taking turns doing 10, 9, 8. And then we get like a top 5 at the end. So it's top 5 in the end. When we were saying then, though, that you wouldn't have... that's true that, you know, that stuff doesn't necessarily look great now, but we wouldn't have what we have now without that, because
no, absolutely,
it was all just about experimenting and
of course,
that's how we get the perfection that we have now. And you keep thinking as well, is it going to get any better? Like, how can it get better than what we've already got?
But you know, it will. We're not the people that can sort of conceive those sort of ideas right now, but it absolutely will, which is incredible. That's like when you look at, I said to when I was in Waitress, Mercedes, my if myself and my roommate were both off stage on a night, he sometimes would bring in his Oculus and he'd be playing it, and I have a go on it as well, and I'd go, this is great, but what this is now is basically like what ping pong used to be. Yeah. You know, as in the boom, boom,
yeah,
like that. That's where VR technology is now.
That's what it will be.
Yeah, and VR is coming into, again, if you watch a lot of the stuff for like the behind the scenes for like Mandalorian and stuff, Jon Favreau, which I'm sure quite a lot of it might have been used for some of the other things, like with Jungle Book as well that he did. They use the VR cameras to be able to sort of like pre-visualize a shot and understand where their actors and what the light's going to look like and everything. So
that's cool.
You know, who knows that we've had the sort of like 3D rush of films and everything. Yeah. Are we, or will there be a time when we get VR films?
Possibly, yeah. I can see that happening.
I can see it happening. I'm sure there's already like novelty attractions. What is it now?
Yeah.
Where like it's a VR experience. It's not just a video that you're watching. And there's already Cineworlds do the wraparound screens and things as well, don't they? Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I need to go.
It's not a wraparound. I think it's 3 screens, if I remember rightly. But basically, it's like it goes right out to either side of your vision.
Like when you go in a museum and you go and stand in one of them rooms, it's got a screen on every side.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You should definitely watch the behind the scenes though for Mandalorian, Mercedes, when they talk about the volume. I was just looking at it going, this is ridiculous. From the point of a film fan, and also like doing my photography and stuff, like watching that, I was just like, that is so cool. So I would definitely recommend it.
I will, for sure. Talking about your photography, just give me the most perfect moment to show Nick your picture.
Okay.
So Nick, obviously, Mark does photography as well. It's his little side business, as well as being an actor. And he's been doing some really cool shoots using TV shows and films. And he did Stranger Things to start with. Okay. And what was the last one you just did? Did you just do something else?
No, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do a Cobra Kai one.
Oh yeah, you're going to do a Cobra Kai one. Yeah. But it was inspired this week. Let me see if I can get it on here. By WandaVision. I can see you guys.
You'll have to message it to him so we can see it properly. But yeah,
I like it.
Anyone that's watching on YouTube can see that. But yeah, very, very cool. So again, anyone on YouTube can head over to Mark's channel and their Instagram is Instagram.
Yeah, my YouTube is Mark Willshire Photography. If you're interested in me being as an actor, my other channel is Mark Willshire Actor and Tog. Tog is short for photographer. And then my Instagram is at Mark Willshire Photography. So, and it's double L and no T.
Pay attention.
There you go.
Right, before we finish then, guys, which film are we most looking forward to that's coming out then from Marvel?
Well, you go first, Nick.
It'd have to be Spider-Man, just because, to be honest, I'm starting to lose track of what's coming out and when. Because, and it's not just because of like the quantity or anything like that. It's because of the last year and the fact that everything's been thrown up in the air. I've just kind of gone, well, what comes out will come out, and I'll figure it out at the time. Because clearly things are just going to keep being rejigged.
Yeah.
So that's my honest answer. Right? But I get a subscription to GQ magazine. The main feature this time is Tom Holland, so it's got me proper like.
I've got that as well.
yeah. Such a good magazine. It's so much like. We're also not sponsored by GQ, unfortunately, but
although we're up for it.
There's so many like excellent like genuine like journalism in it, which I really didn't expect. I just picked one up one time.
Well, I guess the stigma for GQ is the whole like men's magazine.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
The men. I actually honestly subscribe to it for inspiration for my photography, for like all the stuff inside it. Obviously, I read the articles and whatever, but my main reason I have a subscription to GQ and Vogue for looking at like fashion and stuff and keeping an eye on shots for inspiration for me for if I shoot any fashion stuff. But it is, I would say for me, it's probably very similar to Nick, Spider-Man No Way Home. Or what were the three options he gave? I can't remember now.
I saw that like days later. So I went into Jamie going, oh my God, look, Spider-Man's got a title. And he was like, yeah, I know. They announced that 2 days ago. This was my Instagram throwing it up 2 days late. And he was like, yeah, because like 3 days before that, they gave them all different titles.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, that's why this
Tom
video
Holland,
makes sense.
Zendaya, and Jacob. What's it called? Yeah, they all did. And there was like, was that Spider-Man Phone Home, Spider-Man Home Wrecker, and Spider-Man I can't remember what the third one was, but No Way Home I'm looking forward to, because I really want to see what happens now, obviously after the post-credit scenes of Far From Home. The real name of Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Oh my God.
No, I think I said in the cinema. No, I couldn't believe that. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what they do. Obviously, there's all the sort of not theories, or like buzz of like potentially
the originals.
Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. I'm happy with those, so long as Tobey Maguire doesn't come back as Spider-Man from the third film. Because oh God, that moment of the dance scene. Oh, it was awful. Yeah, as long as he comes back. Tom Holland is definitely my favorite of the three, but I liked the original Spider-Mans when they came out. I really enjoyed him. Same with, like, I liked the intensity that Andrew Garfield brought. But when you look back to the comics and you look back to the like the cartoons and stuff, Tom Holland is the closest they get to that kind of, quipping Spider-Man. That is it. So to see excited what they do for that. There's obviously Jamie Foxx is supposed to be coming back as Electro, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And Alfred Molina as Doc Ock.
Yeah,
they can't be denying that. So in this GQ article, he says like, no, they are not in the film. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are not in this film. Like, if those other guys are, like, yeah, they definitely are. Aren't
Surprise, they are really.
Yeah,
they can't not be. It's crazy.
But
but and that plus the whole multiverse theory and the fact that J. Jonah Jameson is back.
Oh my God, when he appeared, I was just like, J.K. Simmons.
He's just great in everything J.K. Simmons ever did.
Yeah, so recently in Defending Jacob, he was brilliant in that on Apple TV. Yeah, so Spider-Man, No Way Home, and maybe Captain Marvel too.
Yeah,
I kind of excited to see what they'll do with her.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. If I'm honest, I was very whelmed by that one. Like
just whelmed. Yeah, I like that.
Wait. So I know you can be overwhelmed. I know you can be underwhelmed. But can you never just be whelmed? You can get Europe.
There you go.
I liked Captain Marvel, but obviously it was set in the 90s. She landed in a blockbuster.
Yeah.
So some of it though, for me, was like I was very skeptical of it, like that they're doing it to make people like the film more. That's how I saw it. I didn't see it as almost like that genuine. A lot of it was like, look at this stuff you remember, how much you love.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. I felt like with Captain Marvel, as much as I enjoyed it, and I did really enjoy it, and I enjoyed having like at that point one of the really powerful female heroes. It did feel rushed though. It did feel like right, come on, we need to get this in before Endgame, because then she'll be in Endgame. So it did feel a bit rushed to me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one to see what, because she kind of, when she just tears through all those ships in Endgame and stuff. And then I do love that moment in Endgame where like she's holding Thanos and he goes boom for nuts and she's like gunk.
Yeah.
That was quite cool. So I'm excited to see where they go with that. And but yeah, mainly probably Spider-Man, I reckon. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be excited to see her actually stretch her legs, because obviously they kept her out of Endgame for most of it, because they were like, well, how long would it last if she was in it? So yeah, it'd be cool to see that and what happens with Monica. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to having some new characters. So I'm looking forward to Eternals and Shang-Chi, because like we've just lost. It's like they've closed off. Obviously, the Infinity Saga that's closed off now. We lost people, and it's like the new class is coming.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm a bit like I'm. There's going to be a lot of people in the Eternals, a lot of people. And we've obviously had the same people for years on our like Avengers team. So it's going to be really strange to see quite famous actors coming in and joining the whole Marvel universe and being like, I'm kind of skeptical. I'm kind of like, so you think you can just come and join the crew, do you? Just because you're Angelina Jolie? I thought that was really. I didn't when they announced her, I was like, oh, really?
How many of them do you think, like you say, them suddenly like the famous people coming on board? How many do you think of them had potentially turned down earlier projects?
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to do a superhero film.
I think it's a shame, because I think a lot of these characters are so much better when you're not familiar with the actor.
Yeah, I would have preferred lesser names, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's often the case, personally. Like, I understand the point of star power and using it, and and how there's a lot of nepotism in Hollywood as well. So once you're famous, you're going to find it easier to get all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not a bad thing. I just think it's a shame, because a lot of the time you see a character as a character when you don't know the person who's playing
it. Yeah, exactly. But we'll see what they've got to offer.
I've just remembered very quickly, we don't have to keep talking over it. We'll get back to you. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But I've just remembered in Spider-Man No Way Home, there's rumors of Charlie Cox coming in as Daredevil as well, isn't there?
Oh, really?
Apparently so, yeah.
That's cool. I've not watched Daredevil either.
What?
There's a lot to watch, dude.
Oh, no.
Just got to prioritize somehow.
Watch Daredevil.
I need to finish all my DC stuff like Flash and Arrow and Supergirl.
Yeah, get on with it. Just watch Daredevil, trust me.
Okay, how many seasons is it? It's like
3.
1 or 2? 3, okay.
And then, then arguably, if you want to do it as a saga thing, then you go into like Jessica Jones.
I know, yeah.
What's he called? Power Man.
Power Man? Iron Fist?
Iron Fist.
No, it was Iron Fist, and then there's Johnny Cage. Luke Cage. Luke Cage is also known as Power Man, isn't he?
Is he?
It was like a superhero nickname and stuff that they gave to him in some of the Spider-Man cartoons. But yes, so then you've got all those, which then they go to like their Avengers style.
I know.
Season of the Defenders.
I do want to watch it all.
But out of all of those,
I would argue, honestly, just watch the Defenders. I personally didn't. Yeah, like I did watch them all.
Yeah, they got rushed as they went along. I feel like the Daredevils had really good clout behind them, and they were brilliant. And the rest of them, like the more they went towards the Defenders film, the more the series became just a bit like.
It's just a build for that.
Yeah. So, but I would say personally, if you were going to watch any of them, just watch Daredevil.
Okay. Yeah. Noted. I will add it to the list.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and watch that then before whatever everything else comes out that he might be appearing.
Yeah. Or watch a YouTube recap.
Yeah, that too. But no, I am super excited about Spider-Man as well, because it's just so much fun. Like you say, like it's that we've had the different Spider-Mans, and we were saying the night in Jamie's podcast that if we could pick a bit from each different like generation of Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Mans are my favorite Spider-Mans. The original film is just amazing. It's brilliant. Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe is just incredible. You can't beat that as a villain. So I'd like take that and a lot of the stuff that happens in that. I would take Tom Holland's Peter Parker, because like you say, he has to be that age. He's supposed to be that age. He's brilliant at it.
Yeah.
And probably little things from the Andrew Garfield ones, but they're probably my least favorite.
Do you know what I thought? I'm aware that we're probably way over time now, so I won't go too much longer. Sorry.
No, because we're only doing it for now. That's what Mercedes always promises. It's only
We've gotten used to this now, haven't we, Mark?
2 hours 20 minutes later.
Probably my fault most of the time for yabbering on.
But I watched Spider-Man 2 sometime in the last year or so, and one thing I noticed was just how incredibly serious it is.
Yeah.
And like, and Tobey Maguire spends a lot of the film very sad. And it's all so heavy, you know. And I just watched it and going, why did I think this was such a fun film? Like, it's really for a lot of it.
I don't. Yeah. The second one, I didn't enjoy that much, but the first one is brilliant.
When you say the second one, do you mean as in the second saga, i.e., so the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and as in
Doc Ock, Spider-Man 2? Yeah.
And then we just erase Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
That is honestly how I view it.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it is. I mean, I remember I've only seen it in the cinema. And I remember one bit, which is where Sandman's being created and like how he's struggling to like keep himself together. I remember being like quite like affected by that. I think that was really well done.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the film, I was just like,
yeah, you really like missed the boat there. But of course, I remember at the time, well, not at the time when that came out because I didn't know this person then, but years later, my friend who worked at the RSPB, Jane, she absolutely massive comic book nerd and loves Venom. Venom's like her favorite. So, and I didn't really know anything about these characters. I just know what I see in films. And she was like, oh my God, what they did to Venom in Spider-Man 3 was just awful. And I was like, why? And she was like, it's not like that. And then of course we got Tom Hardy's Venom.
Yeah.
Which made it, oh, okay, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It was a weird one for them. It was quite funny and then quite not funny, and it was like they'd made two films and kind of smashed them together.
I don't think they quite knew where they were hitting with it, did they? It felt a little bit like that. I mean, I enjoyed it though.
I enjoyed it, yeah, but I did just kind of like throughout go like, oh, it's funny now. Like, oh, well, it's not funny. It's quite that's dark.
I just remember just constantly getting frustrated with him over the whole MJ thing and just being like, stop fucking it up, mate. Come on, sort it out.
Yes.
And don't ever dance on a piano or down the street again.
Ever.
Sweep your fringe back, young man. You look a state.
Oh, it was awful. And I hated Gwen Stacy in that, which is of course one of the first times we ever saw Bryce Dallas Howard, which was like,
is it Bryce Dallas Howard? Is it?
Yeah. With blonde hair.
Wow, great.
We'll delete that from our memory. We should probably wind up. But yeah, super excited about everything that's coming out in the next year. Just excited to get to the cinema for anything, to be honest. So.
By the way, I can't believe you've not acknowledged that my background is red, and I
noticed. Let's all take a moment to appreciate Mark's background.
I'm going to get my red background out for Wanda. And then looking at my screen again and seeing Mark Vision, I think I should have put Wanda Mark instead. So let's take a 5-minute break and we'll do this all again.
Okay, yeah, cool. Sounds good. But we can still appreciate the background. And sure. I appreciate the effort. Duly noted. So thank you very much for joining me tonight, guys.
You're welcome.
Amazing to talk about WandaVision. It's amazing to finally have you have watched it after all these weeks. Maybe we can do it again for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for tuning in.
All right. Speak soon.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining us here in Merc Space this week with me, Nick and Mark. If you're interested in learning more about Mark's career as an actor and his business as a photographer, then please click that follow button and follow Merc Space on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And join us next week when I'll be chatting to Mark in more detail about his career and his business, with stories of working with all sorts of amazing famous people traveling around the UK and the world with his life as an actor, and working on the West End stage as well. So that will be next week with Mark Willshire, A Life on the Stage.